Between the time when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Arius, there was a podcast undreamed of. And onto this, the H-Train and Josh, destined to bear the cruel... Okay, all right. Well, I mean, there was that. Hello, everyone. We're here for another episode of The Tree of Geek. And if you didn't guess by that intro, we are going to be covering the Conan franchise.
What?
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about this evening. The Conans. Now, I'm going to try my best not to do a bunch of really, really bad Arnold impersonations this entire episode. Josh, if you want to throw a couple out,
no, you don't want to hear my impersonations.
I do, but you know.
But hey, if you're at home listening and you can, do it. Anytime he does any type of Arnold impression, take a drink.
Like, nah.
This is the drinking game. If you're at work,
you can bring back the dead.
If you're at work, I recommend you not play along.
Yeah, you all sluts. You can cut that part out, or not. I mean, it's in the movie, so
it's at the end.
No, it's right before he punches the horse.
Oh,
or the camel.
The camel,
yeah.
The second movie.
Yeah, I got some opinions on that. But before we dig into the Conan franchise, where it came from, what the precursors were, what's the behind the scenes things are, what our feelings were, the box office, all that wonderful noise, we need to go into our normal routine. So Josh, tell me, first off, how are you this evening? And secondly, what is new when it comes to the geek world for you?
Well, how am I this evening? So normally when you ask somebody, hey, how are you doing? You expect, oh, I'm doing great. No one actually wants the truth.
Yeah, I want the truth. Are you doing absolutely horrible?
I'm going to give you the truth. I'm exhausted. I have been up late working on some stuff, then I have my full-time job, and then I have my kids. I am beat, but I'm here. I've watched 3 movies in the last 2 days, and I'm ready to do this.
You had 2 weeks, man. You had 2 weeks.
I know, but that's the downfall of being me.
We'll talk about at some point why you had to watch some of these for the first time, and I'm like, dude, I've seen that movie like 20 times, but yeah, we'll get to it. Anyway.
But new and geek for me.
Go ahead.
I am excited to say that Black Mirror Season 7 just dropped a trailer, and the release date, which looks like it's April 10th. What I read, apparently the trailer, people are saying, because I didn't watch the trailer yet, but people are saying it looks like they're going to deal with space, like you said, Star Trek.
Yeah, they're supposed to do a sequel to the space one with Jesse Plemons.
Oh, okay.
Jesse,
time travel.
Kirsten Dunst's husband.
They're saying time travel.
Okay.
And they're also saying they're going to deal with basically nightmare AI. Sound familiar? Naughty.
It doesn't scare
Naughty
me.
AI.
Naughty AI?
Yeah.
Oh. Did we do an episode on Naughty AI?
So Mr. Q there.
Was there?
Completely Mr. Q. Yes, there was an episode on Naughty AI. Go back and listen to it towards the end of season 2.
Oh, the one with Megan Fox.
Yes, we discuss AI in movies and whatnot and how it basically always ends up trying to kill us.
And Skynet. There's not just Megan Fox. There's Skynet. Megan's,
yeah.
Chucky's. And...
Nathan Fillion.
Who's that?
Yeah, who's that? As we all know, he is playing Guy Gardner in the new DC.
Oh, he's the cop in that one show.
Yeah, Castle. And he's playing Guy Gardner in the James Gunn reboot of DC. And apparently in an interview, he said that, referencing Guy Gardner, he's a jerk and he thinks he can take on Superman. If he had a superpower, it would be arrogance.
Yeah, that's why he got punched in the nose really hard by Batman in the comics.
I personally have insanely high hopes. I think Nathan Fillion is just going to crush it.
What do you think about these millions and millions and millions of the DC universe is over before it begins? Like, people are already counting it out. They're like, oh, this one guy's leaving and what's his face is about to get fired. The movie didn't even drop yet. And they're saying the DC is over.
All right, look, I learned my lesson.
Goodness gracious.
I learned my lesson on casting early judgment on anything, DC, Marvel, anything, with Heath Ledger as the Joker. I happily went on record with all my friends saying he is going to ruin it because I just remembered him from... was it 7 Things You Hate About Me or whatever?
Oh, 10 Things I Hate About You. That movie's awesome.
Yeah, and I liked it. And I'm like, he's a heartthrob. He's not a Joker. And then he absolutely demolished.
I mean, he gets Harley Quinn. He's got to be decent looking somewhere,
Yeah, well. But no, I'm saying he turned into, in my opinion, still probably the best on-screen portrayal of the Joker we've had. I loved it. That sadisticness was perfect. So I refuse to pass judgment before I see.
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Even the Flash movie, I held hopes until the very end of it. And when I saw that CGI Nicolas Cage...
Burritos babies, man. Burritos and babies.
Man, that was rough.
Fucking hell, man.
I know one of our listeners loved that movie, and I'm sorry to tell you, man, as a huge Flash fan, I just can't do it. I have a Flash poster on the wall right behind me. And
why didn't they just make a Batman Supergirl movie? I would have watched that.
For me, I think it was Ezra Miller. Nothing against
I don't like him in anything.
Flash.
I don't know.
Right. I don't like his acting at all.
I don't think I've seen one thing that he's in. I was like, oh shit, he's good.
Yeah, I've read that he's a real piece of garbage off screen, but that has nothing to do with on screen. I've just never seen something with him that I liked. On the flip side, I'm still pushing Grant Gustin for the Flash. DC, come on.
Never gonna happen. What else you got?
Finally, we did receive an email, and I was all excited because we don't get very many emails that aren't spam. I thought it was a viewer, but it wasn't. No, instead, we got an email saying that millionpodcast.com has named the Tree of Geek in their recent top 10 lists. That's right, plural. In the top, this is what it said, quote, top superhero movies and TV shows podcasts. So I'm assuming podcasts that talk about superhero movies and TV shows.
Well, I mean, we do a lot of that.
We got number out of 100, 84. And you know what? That's better than 85. That's better than 100.
Yeah, take it, number 85.
That's better than not
I don't know
getting
who you are,
on the list.
Take it.
But what really made me squeal,
I'm sure 85 is fantastic.
What made me squeal like a giddy schoolgirl, though, was on their top 100 geek podcasts to check out, we were number 61. That is almost...
suck it, number 62.
We beat 39 other people, 38
I'm sure 62 is a nice podcast. I don't know.
Look, what does this mean for us? I have typed out, no idea.
It means that somehow from that horrible first episode that really should be like the Fantastic Four
season
movie and never see the day of the light of day, rather. Somehow we've crawled out of that pit and we've sort of figured out what we're doing. I mean, I just ramble on, which is why we got a comment recently, and I'll throw it out there right now. On our last episode on YouTube saying blah, blah, blah. Well, so I'm going to tell you what right now. Now, Josh liked that. And you know what? I just heard about it and I like it too because at least it's an interaction. Somebody at least took the time to say, you know what? Now, I can't really tell that's a 50-50 if it's a good comment or a bad comment.
Is it blah, blah, blah? All you're doing is talking, which if that's what it is, it's a podcast. Or is it blah, blah, blah referring to how we said no one ever interacts with us? We'd like you to say anything. I don't know. But like Michael said,
I'll take it, man.
Yeah, we'll take it.
What did it say? Bad press is good press, right?
You know what?
Or something. I don't know.
They even spelled it correctly. BLAH.
Oh, dude, I wrote it down. You say I can't spell worth shit. I wrote it down with H's. Yeah, that's right.
So what does it mean that we're on these lists? Yeah, it means that somebody out there has taken the time to listen to, I mean, I have to assume at least one episode, and they liked it enough to put us on their list. And
so thank you.
Yeah, to me, that means we're getting somewhere. So next up is the cover of Forbes or something. I don't know. Time magazine? I don't know. Do they put podcasts?
I'm not going on Time magazine. After some of the people they've named as the person of the year, no, I will happily decline it.
Some of the people they've named.
Charlie Daniels, and I will light that Time magazine on fire.
Some of the people that they named, that just means that we have a better chance now. What about you? What is going on in your world?
Oh, I got so many things. We'll go through them so fast, like we're Grant Gustin.
Yes. All right. All right. So what is...
Did you hear the Arnold in that?
I did. Oh, drink.
Daredevil Born Again. The season just kicked off not that long ago. I watched the first episode and I liked it. I did. I thought it was enjoyable. I recommend it. Hopefully it stays the course for the rest of the season.
Did you see Vincent, was it
D'Onofrio?
Yeah. Did you see him replying to somebody on Twitter or X?
Yeah, I did see that.
The whole, like, you ruined it, your character's garbage, and he's just like, what? Thanks for watching, asshole.
Yeah. It's a view, man. I got a view.
I'm just
I'll
like,
take it.
He didn't come back and say, hey, go fuck yourself. No, he's just like, hey, thanks for taking the time out of your day to at least watch the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. The Running Man with Glenn Powell, that I think comes out towards the end of this year. It's said to be closer to the novel and deadly and dangerous, according to the director.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they threw out a couple screenshots.
Should we read the novel before it comes out, do you think?
I mean, I think I still get the premise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other actors named in that yet?
There is, but I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Okay.
There's some decent people in it. Might as well put Walton Goggins in it. I mean, he's in everything else.
Anya Taylor-Joy, probably.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I didn't. Did we talk about The Gorge last time? Gorge is a good movie. You guys should watch The Gorge. It's good.
Fantastic.
Now, like, every time I turn on my TV, there's like an ad for The Gorge or something. I'm like, I already saw this. Scream 7 fans, horror fans, slasher fans. somehow, I don't know how, but somehow Dewey is being brought back for, and if you guys are like, what do you mean? Well, you didn't watch episode 6 then, or 5. You didn't watch part 5.
Is that Matthew Lillard?
No, this is Arquette.
Keep in mind, I saw the first one. That's it.
He bites it in part 5.
Okay.
Yeah. The one with,
so like you see him bite it.
The one with the guy we say he's sleazy in every movie now. The Novocaine guy.
Oh, Quaid.
Yeah, Quaid. Yeah, Quaid is I'm pretty sure is the guy that kills him. Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid.
I just finished up yesterday Lower Decks. Yes, I'm behind the times, but I finished up Lower Decks finally, and it was a very good finale. I really enjoyed all the quantum reality stuff, bringing in all the cameos, all the different characters. Garrick shows up, the original voice actors for the Julian Bashir. You know, it was awesome.
Nice.
Invincible. I got 1 episode to go. I've heard that the finale is absolutely balls crazy, so I'm looking forward to that. But so far, the first like 8 or 9 episodes, however many they are really, man, it's like The Boys in cartoon form, but in some ways better.
How many seasons are there?
I guess they did season 1 and season 2 was split in 2.
Okay.
I think this is like the second half of season 2.
Okay.
That's everything I have.
You did just remind me when you're saying about The Boys. Did you see
Go Boys
on
do it for the boys.
social media? Jensen Ackles did a little thing where like he called Jared Padalecki saying like, hey, you know, we gotta get together, and then he called Misha Collins. So essentially, they're getting the cast of Supernatural together because Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins are coming on to The Boys.
Yeah, everybody in The Boys, or everybody that was on Supernatural is now in The Boys at this point. Like
Bobby Singer,
yeah, he's president. I mean, why not?
Well, it's the same director, isn't it? Or
yeah,
what's his name? Kripke, yeah, Eric Kripke.
Yeah, I like how God in this one's a multiple guy that gets pink eye. So moving on. Let us take a little quest, a little adventure, if you will, into the realm of Conan. Conan the Barbarian, Conan the King of Thieves, Conan the Pirate, Conan the Destroyer, Conan the Lover. Oh, yeah. I mean, there was like a cheetah in the one movie. So that was, you know.
Was it painted black?
No, it was not. It would be funny just see a couple little ferrets running through. Just see Beastmaster run through the back. Hey, get back here, guys.
You see the gimp in the background chasing the ferrets. Hey, at points,
where's the terracotta?
At points, it totally felt like it could be the same universe.
I mean, yeah, why not? So let me ask you, Josh, with your 8 pages of notes and my 12 pages of notes, could you somewhere in those notes tell me if you said now, like my grandma was like, what is Conan? Because we do know that, like, when they were casting Schwarzenegger, there was a certain person who was like, who is Conan? What is Conan? Answer that question for our fans out there. If somebody's been living underneath all the rocks, tell us, what is Conan?
All right. Well, Conan the Barbarian is what he's most commonly known as, is a fantasy character created by the American writer Robert E. Howard all the way back in 1932.
Back in the dizzy.
1932. That's even, man, That's
the Depression era.
That's around Lord of the Rings.
That's Depression area, man. That's
yeah. He first appeared in the magazine called Weird Tales, and since then he's become basically like a sword and sorcery hero all over the place. He literally became a legendary fantasy character by the end of it. I'm a firm believer that without him, I don't think we would have so much of the fantasy that we have today.
There's a section here that I have about characters that were inspired by Mr. Conan. So we'll get to that.
But Conan is a Cimmerian, which is a tough, warlike people from the fictional prehistoric era of Hyboria.
Hyboria.
It's the
Hyborian age.
The Hyborian age, which is obviously fiction, but it's said to be set after the fall of Atlantis, but before our modern written history. So figure from right here, 3,000 years ago at least.
So let's stop there and let's answer the question, what is the Hyborian age? What is Hyperborea? Do you know anything about that?
I don't.
So when looking for inspiration for things, Robert E. Howard loved Vikings. He loved Greeks. He loved mythology, loved that stuff. Hyperborea, basically, hyper means above, beyond. Borea, the Borealis is in the north, so it means beyond north. So there was this mythical place to the Greeks called Hyperborea that even on some old ancient maps is Antarctica. basically. It's, it's way up north. So they kind of like Atlantis and Lemuria and all these other fantastical places that, could or could not have existed. This was just another place that he's like, you know what? I love this place. Let's do something with this area. And because he was already into Vikings and things like that, that's kind of how it naturally came to. So that's what Hyperborea, and then, I know it gets all confusing because they're using like the same word over and over again. That's how we get
to the Hyborian age.
But he liked history a lot, so he used a lot of influences like Mongols and Vikings and other type people for the settings. Like when he, got his map together, there's a lot of connections to actual history and some mythological history of what people back in the day. I mean, they didn't know what was 3,000 leagues or miles away. They had no idea, so they're just making up stories. Well, over that mountain, this has got to be what's going on. And that's where he got a lot of inspiration from.
Okay, all right. I like that. Conan is also known for his immense strength, his battle skills, as well as his cunning, and I guess you could say like strategic mentalities.
Well, he knows what's best in life.
He does. And throughout all the different roles that we've seen him in, like through the different books and storylines, we've seen him as a thief, a mercenary, a pirate, a gladiator, even a king at one point. And I'm probably missing some.
Oh, I mean, you forgot Lover, but that's okay.
But to sum him up, Conan is without a doubt an anti-hero. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He is the hero who's willing to get his hands extremely dirty when necessary because he has his own code of honor, and that's the only thing he follows. So if I explained that right there to you, would you want to watch it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it helps that when this guy eventually gets written for Marvel Comics, that the Marvel Comics guys that were writing him were also writing Punisher at the time. So that really helps. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So now that we've covered Conan, let's talk about the creator. Let's talk about where Conan came from. So you talked about Robert E. Howard made him in 1932, right? So Robert E. Howard is a guy from Texas, small town across plains. He gets a lot of inspiration from rugged frontiersmen, seeing the harsh realities of pioneer life. He sees all these big burly dudes, these lumberjack type guys, gets some inspiration. Now, I ended up behind the scenes video and some other things I read, which are kind of conflicting, but kind of oversaturated in a way of like what's real and what's not real. There's this idea that Conan kind of came out of nowhere for Robert Howard. He was a weird guy. He only lived to be 30, and that's because he committed suicide. He wrote almost all of his stories in like a 4-year period. He wrote like all these books, like all these little, novellas or whatever.
Yeah.
Very, very short period of time. He thought the world was out to get him. He stayed in his house. So there's a story that like Conan kind of appears to him in the darkness, and like kind of tells him, you got to write these things. Now, did that actually, like, there's a story that like he's in the darkness and there's like a guy that Conan shows up right behind him and he forces him. He's like, you don't write this down. I'm gonna slice you with my sword, or so he writes all these stories frantically. Now, he did have a lot of mental health issues. That part is known. So was it that dramatic? We don't know. I mean, it's a game of telephone at this point from the 30s, 40s, whatever. But he's out there in Texas. He's on like this trip. He's in some mountain range. It's raining, and inspires him to write a poem called Samaria. And then shortly after that, he starts writing Conan. But before he wrote Conan, he wrote about Kull, which was supposed to be the king of Atlantis at some point. Now, Conan takes place after the fall of Atlantis, thus the intro of the movie and the intro that I gave all the listeners here. And later on in this episode, we'll talk about the differences, similarities of Kull and Conan. And shout out to whoever can sit all the way through the Kevin Sorbo movie.
Can't be that bad.
Well, I don't know which one's worse, that one or the Red Sonja. I don't know. It's rough. But we're supposed to get a Red Sonja movie later this year, so who knows? I
mean, fingers crossed. I'm not going to pass judgment, like I said. So let me ask you then, because you asked me, who is Conan? Let me ask you, why do you feel Conan is an important part of our culture?
The same as Wolverine, the same as the Hulk, the same as Punisher. People, the same reason you want to play Vice City. Sometimes you have this desire that you just want to go to berserk. You just want to live your life on your own rules, your own terms, and you don't want the kings and queens, the government, whoever's in charge, to tell you how to live your life, A, B, C, 1 through 10. You're like, nah, I'm going to do it my way. There's a little tidbit in part 2 where the guy's like, you're going to talk to the queen that way? And he goes, she's not my queen. There you go. You can drink for that one. And that is Conan, right there. It's you know, you can say you're in charge. I mean, he's a roamer. He goes wherever he wants to go.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people just, I think, really want to do. They want to live life in their own set of rules. They want to be told what to do all the time. And Conan embodies that for them. They can live vicariously through Conan, watching these movies, these TV shows, these cartoons, playing the video games.
Yeah. I don't know if we would even have some things like Game of Thrones or The Witcher or even D&D for that matter if it wasn't for Conan kind of setting that fantasy stage of anything goes.
He was definitely a game changer, the character itself. I mean, Cull had been around, but that Pulp Fiction stuff only lasted for so long. Like the boom of it, the height of it was only around the 30s and 40s. So by the time people start picking it up again about the 70s, and then when he gets into comic book form, which really helped because comics were, you know, really big back then.
1970 was issue number 1.
Yeah.
So 40 years later, wow. Which I can happily say it took me a long time of searching, but I did finally, I think it was like last year, maybe the year before, I got my hands on an actual 1970 Conan number 1. It's graded. It's in like the plastic sleeve thingy is like I think it's a 4 out of 10, but you know what? That's finally got a hold of it. Okay.
To have it.
And I mean, and they even said in documentary, the behind the scenes thing that I had checked out, that one of the reasons that comic flew off the shelves was look at the cover. It's this big burly dude standing on top of a pile of bodies
And
with
a half-naked woman
straddling his leg. Like they said, teenage boys just ate that up.
Yeah. I mean, it's you talk about like the impact he's had, and I said he was a game changer. So I put a list the other day together because I was on a board. I was like, because you wrote a story and I'm currently writing a story, a novel. Finally got to chapter 8, so I got that all done. So here's kind of like a quick rundown of, in chronological order, fantasy, like impactful fantasy stuff. Okay, so for 1900 you get the Wizard of Oz. 1912 you get Tarzan. 1929 you get Cull. 1932 you get Conan. Okay, now Conan, like I said, this is kind of the pulpy type of era. But then you get the Sword and the Stone in 38. You get the Hobbit in 37, and you got to wait all the way till 1950 till you get Narnia. Okay, and then you get another part of the King Arthur stuff in 1958 with the Once and Future King.
All the Lord of the Rings in the early 40s.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just saying the Hobbit was in 37, so that's when it all kind of started. But you don't get Dungeons and Dragons till 1974.
Yep, Gary Gygax.
Yeah. You get the Dragonlance Chronicles in 84, and then things are kind of stagnant for a while until 1990. You get the Wheel of Time. 92 you get The Witcher, which is a German originality. It's not, you know.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. But then it kind of, you know, you got to wait all the way, you know, a couple years later, you don't get the Song of Fire and Ice till 96. You get Harry Potter 97. You get a couple things like Stardust and Aragon and stuff, but like there's really nothing. You know, but in between there, obviously, you get Conan movies, you get Beastmaster movies, you get all these other things. But that's like kind of when the property started.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give you an idea of, because in my head, I was like, oh, the Inklings and Lord of the Rings and Narnia, like they're all the same time. They really aren't.
Right.
You know, now C.S. Lewis did a shit ton of other works. He didn't just do the Chronicles of Narnia. But just to give you an idea of the real big tentpole fantasy, like that's how it went. So, but Conan has been riding since like the first quarter till now. He's just been going through. I mean, there's new comics coming out right now with Conan in him. He's not going anywhere. So.
Well, and he's spun off, countless other types of characters. I mean, Red Sonja, for example, she went from a supporting character to very quickly having her own book.
Well, she started in Marvel Comics, so she didn't start in...
Right.
So Red Sonja, there's a character called Red Sonja. It's spelled a little bit differently in one of the Conan books, but she is like a I don't think it's a Conan book. It's just another Robert E. Howard book, but she's like a gunslinger with red hair. So Marvel Comics took that inspiration and made her a barbarian chick.
Oh, interesting.
Comics. Yeah, she didn't start the way that we think Red Sonja started in the novels. That wasn't how she was. That's a Marvel creation.
Okay.
Kind of like Kazar and guys like that. So you want to talk about like, the characters inspired by them. You got Thundarr the Barbarian. You know, there's that cartoon. He-Man. You wouldn't know Conan, no He-Man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got a He-Man movie coming out at the end of this year, early next year, which is nice. You talk about like D&D stuff. The Forgotten Realms has Driz Dyrden. Is that how you say it? Apparently he's, you know, supposed to, though he differs in personality, he's supposed to be like an adventure and survival guy. I think John knows who he is. But yeah, obviously you mentioned Red Sonja, you know, John Carter kind of helped shape Conan, but the stories after Conan, you know, they did some other John Carter things that were more Conan inspired.
Well,
and Kratos from the God of War.
Well, mentioning that alone, I've read some of the early John Carter comics, they're not friendly like the Disney movie was. Like some of them are brutal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can absolutely see. Now, was he pre-Conan?
Yeah. And I think another reason, you look at Howard's, he describes Conan as a composite of all these historical figures and warriors and personal images blended with traits of, the local outfield roughnecks. I mean, when you look around at like the local bars or the local football team or something, the guy, the big actor, like you draw inspirations to these big burly fucking guys. Like, you think of somebody like a barbarian. Doesn't necessarily have to be Conan, but you think of something that's like somebody just run through a fucking wall, and then gives you inspiration to kind of to come above and like, man, dude, if I was like this big motherfucker over here, man, maybe I could just rise above, and maybe I could just like punch my way through something. It helps inspire.
Now, I don't know when it was founded, but Wonder Woman, I almost wonder if some of that whole like Amazonian traits was inspired by like Red Sonja and Conan, and that whole barbarian tribe style.
I'm sure there was a lot of intermingling there.
I don't know when that actually came out though.
Wonder Woman was pretty early. Wonder Woman and Superman and all that stuff, that was way back in the day.
20s, 30s. So it could have been around the same time period.
Yeah, I have a feeling that there was a lot of intermingling when it came to people meeting at conferences or people going, oh, look what they're doing over there. Look what they're doing over here. Look what DC's doing. Look what Marvel's doing.
Yeah.
Look at, EC Comics is doing, there's.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of the artists,
this novel and get,
a lot of the artists bounce between companies. I'm sure
go where you get paid. It's that simple. You
like
just go
Jim Lee, Jack Kirby. I'm sure they all talked. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, Jack Kirby, I don't know if he was still alive when Jim Lee was probably like 18 or something when Jack Kirby was still around.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe.
Yeah, I got to remember this isn't the early 90s. Like, he's a little bit up there.
We're talking early 1900s.
Yeah.
So what did come out in the late 1900s?
I was born in 1983, but if you're talking about the year before that, my buddy was born. But if you're talking about something else that happened, maybe it was this little itty bitty movie, The Little Engine That Could, known as Conan the Barbarian, perhaps? Is that what we're talking about here?
Directed by John Milius, screenplay by John Milius and Oliver Stone, based on the Conan the Barbarian stories by Robert E. Howard, what we were just talking about. So, 60 years later, they get around to, hey, you know what would be cool? Let's make a movie. Music, holy crap, the music by, I don't know how to pronounce that last name.
Basil Poledouris?
Was it Basil, Poledouris?
Poledouris. I don't have the word in front of me.
Basil, not Basil, Basil.
Basil.
And cinematography by Duke Callahan. Now, the reason I added cinematography is because there was a lot of things that I read about this first movie that all said that the way they shot it was pretty creative for the time. I didn't notice anything like over the top, but I enjoyed the movie. So
yeah, it looks good. It looks good. It stands up today. I don't care what anybody says. It stands up today.
IMDb has Conan the Barbarian from 1982 still to this day at a 6.9 out of 10.
I was gonna say I was gonna do it, but I was gonna redeem myself. But
so we got two more movies.
Okay.
What was Rotten Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes, the critics 67%, the audience 74%.
I mean, I personally,
that's still a 7 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10.
Having just rewatched that movie yesterday, I've got to give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, it's still a fantastic movie.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
Do you really?
I love this movie. You have no idea how much I love.
No, all right.
Oh man,
that's awesome. Release date was originally May 14th of 1982. On the budget of, this gets me, $20 million. That was a huge budget in 1982.
I thought it was 17, but it was 20. Oh.
Well, it says about 20 million. And then the box office, I don't have worldwide versus domestic. It just has in general.
It was way different back in the day.
Was around 79 million. So they quadrupled their investment.
And the plan was to quadruple it again.
That is called a success.
It is. It is a success. It opened the doors for Arnold for sure.
And so they did test screenings before they actually released the movie. And they said that they had like big bikers showing up. They had family showing up. Like it was just
Conan was huge at the time.
Such a massive spectrum of people coming to see this test viewing.
Comics were big with
that they sold out the entire theater and had to actually expand it into 3
They bicycled the film to other theaters.
And what that means is it was on a reel, people, and more than likely probably 2-3 reels. And as soon as one was done, somebody would literally ride a bike to the next movie theater to get that first first reel moving.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Nothing was on the cloud back then, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. But I mean, that was like their first not red flag, but their first flag that, hey, this could be a success.
Right.
I remember in the one documentary, they're saying that every single time, every test audience, the second Arnold's face was seen for the first time, everybody cheered. Because at the time, he was known for his bodybuilding. He wasn't a movie star yet.
No, he's still rich though already.
Well, yeah, he was still rich.
Had all that real estate already, dude. He didn't play around.
See, some of the things I was reading said that this was technically considered his breakout role into Hollywood. Is that fairly accurate? Like before this, it was just
before Predator. It's before Terminator.
Well, yeah, okay, all right. So who's in this movie?
Well, I would say, judging by my notes here, Arnold Schwarzenegger is Conan. James Earl Jones, Thulsa Doom, Sandal Bergman as Valeria. Jerry Lopez, the surfer, as Subotai. Mako as the wizard / Akiro. William Smith as Conan's father. Max von Sydow as King Osric. Man, dude, his scenes were awesome. Ben Davidson as Rexor. Sven Ols Thorson as Thorgrim. I like how Arnold just keeps taking him on all his movies in the future. That was awesome. Cassandra Gava as the witch. Valerie Quinessen as the princess, and Jorge Sanz as young Conan, who I looked him up, and he's actually had a pretty good Latin career. So I was like, whatever that kid. And not to be left out, Nadzuka as Conan's mom. I think she's like Polish or German or something like that. She has some other names, but that is who is in this movie.
That sounds like a pretty A+ cast, too.
Yeah, well, we can talk about the casting now if you want.
I'll say, being 1982, I wonder if James Earl Jones got pulled mostly because people loved his voice in Star Wars. Or if they just said, hey, this guy, he could easily pull off that menacing figure. Let's grab him.
According to James Earl Jones, he was chosen because he had a teddy bear-like quality to him. He was kind but had a little bit of ferocity to him. And he said it's more interesting to see a guy that looks calm and doesn't look like he'll really hurt somebody, to see that guy's a villain. He said that John Milius and Robert E. Howard and other people kind of looked at historical figures when they're trying to cast this. Milius is, they're looking at Hitler, looking at all these other people, these charismatic leaders, you know what I mean? They're like, well, maybe James Earl Jones could pull that off. So that's who they chose. Yeah.
Yep. A black man with blue eyes and straight hair.
Well, they also wanted somebody as well. He pointed out they wanted somebody that looked like he had been from a race that no longer existed.
Like he was the last of his kind.
Yes. So like we're talking about the falling of Atlantis. They're like, maybe he was this old Atlantean guy. Maybe he's the last. That's why he thinks he's so much better, why he's smarter, and then he turn into a snake and do all these things. They wanted him to look different.
See, tidbits like that change your perspective of a movie. I wish things like that made it into the movie somehow.
I just wish a tidbit of them walking up and wiping his nose at some point in the one scene.
What?
There's a scene where he has a little tiny booger, or that's just the way his nose is, but there's like a little tiny booger there with Conan's mom, and it's... And as soon as I was doing my rewatch, I was like, yep, there it is. Like, nobody noticed that little tidbit in his nose.
You understand what you just did. This is one of those things now where no matter what, you will always see that now at that intense moment.
It still doesn't ruin it for me. It doesn't ruin it for me.
You know what? Talking about boogers, this is a good time to mention that we will be looking at all 3 Conan movies and probably talk about the books, comic books, video games, whatever.
Oh, yeah, spoilers. They're spoilers.
There's definitely going to be spoilers. These movies have all been out for a while.
Yeah, the last one was 2011.
Yeah, we're just going to get into this. So that's your warning. If you haven't seen the Conans, I recommend go watch all 3, but you'll learn more as we go. So...
Right on. Sandal Bergman, John Milius said he wanted a Valkyrie-looking lady, saw her, and he goes, she looks like a Valkyrie, so he cast her. That's what he wanted.
Well, that's easy enough.
Subotai, Jerry Lopez, they kept casting a bunch of different people or doing screenings. They kept saying, well, we want somebody that's like Jerry. Jerry was a surfing buddy of John, and they're like, fuck it, let's just get Jerry to do this. They did a testing and he tested good.
So Jerry wasn't even an actor.
No, it wasn't even an actor. Yeah. But when they decided to use him, they sent him to Mako's school. I didn't know Mako had an acting school.
Yeah.
And he was there for a couple months, and Jerry said in the one interview, he's like, I did absolutely horrible. I was pathetic, and there was so many better people at acting there than me, but I made it through.
See, that's something we're missing in today's culture. Harrison Ford got grabbed up to help run lines while hanging a door. Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't ever supposed to be the Terminator. We don't have these you fell into it stories anymore.
I don't even like John Wayne, but John Wayne was just a stagehand.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't have those stories of, I just found him and he was perfect. No, now it's, I went through this agency or this agency.
Yeah.
I love hearing stories of how some of these older people got into acting. Like, it's just fantastic.
Completely agree. So what happens in this movie? Well, we can go through and we just talk about the big points. We're not going to go scene by scene, even though I know sometimes I drag on. It's because I love movies so much. I like the movies that we cover.
That means we're going scene by scene.
Well, I mean, this one's pretty iconic. I mean, a lot of the things.
So we open up to the sun at exactly 8 o'clock.
That's not how this movie starts.
No, not at all.
This movie starts with like some badass music. That's how this movie starts. And then Mako talking about, you know, the oceans drinking Atlantis and the sons of Arius. And
yep. So we do have a voiceover. It is Mako, which if you don't know, Mako, like you said, he played the wizard and narrator. He was a
Highlander. He was in Highlander 3.
Yeah.
Because that's where people are going to know him from. Highlander 3.
Nope, that's it. Highlander 3.
He was a wizard in that one too.
So how does this movie start?
Like you said, it starts with the intro. Then it's time to forge a sword. You see Conan's daddy making a badass sword. Man, I wanted that sword so much as a kid. And the only note I really had about this was the score. How amazing Basil's score is. It's just so memorable. We were talking before, Mike, and we can talk about it again right now. So it is on, Mike.
Yeah.
How today you and I challenged you, said, give me a theme that is so memorable in a fantasy-like movie since like 2001 with Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. Tell me a theme from any movie that you can just recall.
You said any movie, any genre in the past 15 years that you can just, boom, you remember the theme music.
And the only thing you came up with was
Game of Thrones.
And that's a TV show, but I'll take it because it is very memorable.
One other one, but I can't remember what it was now because it's not that memorable. I had to rack my brain.
You said something about the Avengers. I think.
The Avengers have a recurring kind of riff, but no.
There's just so much blandness.
It's not like Jurassic Park where you hear it, you know. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, like you just know. Like you can just, even the original Superman, like you can just do the original John Ottman theme, or not. Well, he did the.
Well, I feel like everything nowadays,
but that again,
it's so, I don't want to say electronically done, but I mean, it's so not even generic. It's just, there's nothing super defining about it. Like back then you had those heavy orchestral hits. You had the real like intense portions.
Well,
now I feel like everything blends together because there's music usually the entire way through.
And that's where this movie differs. And we were talking about how there's so much music in this movie. And Basil did a lot of the music before the movie was even made, which helped John Milius do certain scenes. Conan barely talks in this movie.
I have it written down, 700 words approximately.
That's not a lot.
That is not
a lot at all.
But it's more than the
Terminator.
Terminator.
A couple paragraphs. Like it's, yeah. But there's so many emotional scenes or tension type scenes in this movie that the music just carries. And I don't care who says it, you're wrong. If anybody says Arnold Schwarzenegger can't act. Because I'm telling you, this movie right here, there's so many scenes where Arnold, his emotion, he doesn't speak, but he just, like the first half of the movie, he doesn't say anything. He has to react. Stuff going on, and the way the music pops up above and behind him, it amplifies the scene. Nowadays, like you said, the music is through the whole entire thing. Yeah. And it's just, oh, here's the theme.
I feel like in this first movie especially, Arnold's, his body language and his facial expressions, like it spoke volumes louder than any speech could have at that point. Like just a simple action of like your shoulders slouching, it shows complete defeat. Whereas you can pretend, I'm so upset right now. Well,
listen, we covered fantasy movies in our last podcast, and we talked about The Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah.
Now, Vin Diesel, that's a great movie. I like that movie. But Vin Diesel has like one of four faces, one of four reactions. Like he doesn't really, like Arnold Schwarzenegger has so much more range in this movie than Vin Diesel does in any Fast and Furious, the whole entire franchise.
He plays the same in Fast and Furious as he does in The Last Witch Hunter. It's the same guy.
Yeah. Well, they're related, right? It's the same Dominic Toretto's a descendant of
Dominic. He changed his name. Calder is Dominic. After he became mortal, he just said, "I'm gonna drive."
He did like cars in that movie. He had that car. He's like, "Well, they'll just go give me a Supra."
So John Milius and Oliver Stone, they actually said that they purposely had this screenplay written out with very little dialogue, and they told, I can never remember how to say his last name, so just say Basil.
He was called Basil.
They told Basil, like, the score needs to have an opera feel to it because it's going to tell the story just as much as the actors and the dialogue. And I think they completely nailed it. I think they knocked it out of the park.
Well, you mentioned a name there, and there's a little bit behind it, but you mentioned Oliver Stone. When you talk about big names like Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson and James Cameron, you say Oliver Stone, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Oliver Stone, like he had some big stuff back then. So Oliver Stone is contracted to make this to write this movie or help with the writers, and he's supposed to be director and all these things. And it doesn't really. He has like this massive movie he wants to make. There's mutants and there's armies, and like it doesn't happen. It ends up getting rewritten, and he ends up getting John Milius instead.
I remember
but Oliver Stone is still kind of connected here.
He said in the one interview he wrote something like a dozen screenplays and just kind of like picked which ones he thought she should submit. That's dedication right there. Like that's going the extra mile to try and get it right. And that can't be scoffed at. Like that is absolute dedication.
I mean, this is a guy who did Platoon. But the fact that
he was getting ready for
a young Oliver Stone like has his hand in this, like back then it probably didn't mean much, but listen to it now, and I'll admit, as many times I've seen this movie, I had no idea Oliver Stone was attached to this anywhere. I was like, wait, what? That explains some of the gravity of this that I'm sure he helped inspire and sprinkle in through. Yeah.
And now, to be fair, the movie like this isn't for everybody. I mean, it is. It feels slower paced at points. It has that very classic 70s, 80s feel to it.
It's very VHS-like,
but
for sure.
If you take the time to watch it, it is just a work of art. It is so good.
So good.
Maybe I'll give it an 8 by the end of the podcast.
Maybe it's because of scenes like the next one where I call it daddy teaching. So his dad makes a sword, but then he talks to his son. He's got him like the skies up above, like the way, dude. Oh my God! And he's sitting there talking about it. And he's like, "You can't trust women, you can't trust beasts, but this Conan, this you can trust." And he's just in there pointing at his sword. He's like, "This." And it's funny. His sword breaks later on, but
egg hunt in the beginning.
That's in 2011.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right, never mind.
Now I'm not talking about the daddy talk with fire and ice. I'm talking about.
I thought that was too separate.
I'm talking about his dad talking about Crom and.
Right.
Don't trust the women and the beasts, but your sword. That's what you trust. That's what my daddy taught me. Drink up. Yeah. I like to do the speech in Arnold's voice because it just sounds. But the guy who plays his dad is awesome. He's a cool fucking dude.
The speech he does much later on. I'm sure we'll get to it at some point. I guess it's actually very loosely ripped off of Genghis Khan.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, he was with the Genghis Horde, but we're not there yet. So we get a village attack. Thulsa Doom shows up. They're looking for the Riddle of Steel.
The what?
Now, the Riddle of Steel is that's actually from Robert E. Howard, who was having an existential kind of crisis and was asking, like, what is reality? Where am I from? And he put that into his stories. The philosophical. Yeah. So that's kind of where the Riddle of Steel comes from. See, I like how they still kept certain things.
Yeah.
Even though this movie really is more Call than Conan.
Yeah. So they gave it a solid nod to its origins.
Yeah. They're like, hey, the origins of it was important, and that's what we're going to put in here. Now this is, man, that scene with his mom.
Yeah. So
it's just heartbreaking, dude. Just
Conan's village is just massacred by Thulsa Doom's army. Thulsa Doom, as you mentioned, played by James Earl Jones. And he even makes a comment later, like he was looking for steel. He was looking for metal. Like,
yeah, he's like, oh, that must have been in my younger days.
Like the perfect weapon type of thing. I'm not honestly sure why.
I like how he hasn't aged today, and he's like, yeah, back in my younger days.
Yeah, I know.
Which shows that he is something different, right?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's, oh man, that, like what, 10 minutes in, he's there holding his mom's hand, and
that scene gets me every time. And the music, it's because of the music. He's sitting there, and that little Jorge, or George, where do you want to, the guy that plays young Conan.
Okay.
Like, he's holding a hand, and you see the head drop, and the look that little boy does when he looks up, and then the hand, like great. The mom's arm falls out, like
she goes limp. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he's just like looking down at his hand where he used to hold hers, and it's like, holy shit, I just got stabbed in the heart, bro.
I mean,
damn.
It's the two of them standing there holding hand in hand. Thulsa turns around and then whips around again, facing them, taking her head clean off.
After he like hypnotizes her,
like he just like stared her down.
Yeah, and she puts her sword down, and
oh man. And then they let him live because that's what you do.
There's always a mistake the villain's going to make somewhere, and that was mistake number one. So then it's time to spin a wheel. Let's see what your prize is. Muscles. You win muscles.
The wheel of pain.
Basil said that he took one of those big Chinese gongs, and he had somebody scrape something down it to get the sound of it, that the wheel
makes.
Turning. That score is like,
like
yeah, that's. Like the ingenuity, like
Yeah, so like that wheel was actually built. Like it wasn't just some little prop piece.
They
it was
wanted
a
it to look
full-size wheel.
They wanted it to look like it did something, so it's supposed to like make grain.
Well, the cool thing is they said that it was actually built too well.
Yeah,
It was too balanced that he could just push it. So they had to have off-camera cast members, crew members pushing against him to make it look like he had to push.
yeah. They have like 6 curly men over there pushing against me. There's nothing.
Should we save all the behind the scenes for at the end or just sprinkle?
No,
them?
I think we're just gonna sprinkle.
Okay.
I think it's more fun to sprinkle them through.
Okay. So this is where you get your first look of Arnold as Conan. He's pushing it, his head's down, and you see him like slowly getting bigger like over the years. And then there's a point where he looks up and through his bangs, it's Conan.
Anytime I'm pushing anything, I think of that scene where you see him from behind first and his shoulders are just fucking rising and lowering and his muscles are rippling and his fucking thighs and his legs and he's just fucking...
And you
I'm
pretend that's what you look like.
So I work, I got a ramp and I push the fucking the dumpster down on Wednesdays and then later in the afternoon I got to push it back and I'm like, I'm fucking Conan, yeah. The wheel pain, baby, the garbage pain.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, we get to spin the wheel. Then it gets taken away by some redheaded dude who's going to make him a pit fighter.
He basically got bought.
Yeah, he's a slave.
Yeah, he got bought and turned
a big
into
slave. But yeah,
essentially a gladiator.
pretty much. Yeah.
And I love it because the little voiceover there even says like he got a taste for the victory and he loved getting all that attention. And so
yeah, this isn't Russell Crowe Gladiators like, oh, no, you're not entertained. Arnold's like, yeah, man, give me more. Like, let's go, bro.
And so yeah, well, that made him push harder to become a better fighter.
It was an interesting first fight because the dude's like biting his neck and he's like, oh, what is going on here? Why are you attacking me, man? What I do to you? Come on, what are you doing? And then he gets mad.
Yeah.
And he does that really cool Kimura move where he like puts the arm back behind him and starts like slamming and like breaks the dude's shoulder. Like, it was pretty cool.
It was brutal.
Then you get to see one of the greatest quotes of all time because he gets trained by all the Woe Masters. And somebody says, yo, Conan, my son's wrong over here. Because I asked my son what was best in life. And he's like, oh, eagles, falcons on your crest and the wind in your hair. And he's like, wrong, Conan, what is best in life? And Conan says, to crush your enemies, see him turning before you and hear the lamentations of the women. I used to have that as a ringtone.
Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were Mongol hordes.
I know.
Like, yeah.
Conan does eventually get freed.
Yeah, because he was like perhaps a wild animal kept too long.
Yeah, so someone freed him.
Go! But that scene, let's talk about that scene just real quick.
With the wolves?
So, no, not the wolves yet.
Okay.
So Mr. Red Hair sets him free, knocks his like crown, or, he's sitting there, and Kono's like, oh, no. And like he sits back down. He's like, no. Oh shit, my bad. I don't know. I must have been wrong. Sorry, master. And he sits down. He's like, no. And he goes, and he like kicks him. He's like, no, I need you to go.
Conan
like,
didn't want to leave.
It's like that stray dog. You're like, dude, I gave you dog food. Now you can leave. You're big and strong now. Now you can leave.
Well, this is the only place he knew.
Yeah, that's his life. He's like, but I like murdering dudes. That's fun. It's soon his victories could not easily be counted.
Oh, wow. But I loved it because he ends up in this cave. He finds a sword.
Well, you talk behind the scenes. How does he get to the cave? He's got to run from wolves.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, he's leaving, and then he gets chased by wolves, which in the behind the scenes, they said that they weren't well-trained wolves, that they wouldn't even listen to the animal handlers.
No.
And the very first time he tried to run up that stack of rocks,
you saw the video.
He lost his footing, fell, and the one wolf actually got him and like scratched his nose all up. They had to do stitches.
Well, the one video, you see the wolf pulling at his like leg area.
He was like,
dude.
He said it was like day one of filming stitches.
Yeah.
Well, he ends up finding his way down into this cave system where apparently people were hanging out at one point.
Yeah.
And he finds a sword.
It might have been more open before somebody closed up the cave a little bit.
I don't know, but he finds a sword. I love how he like smashes, like
Crom.
slams it off of the stone to break all the crust off of it. Like,
yeah. Well, it's supposed to be, they call it an Atlantean sword. So this is an Atlantean person at some point.
Okay.
I don't know like who this Atlantean.
So they've been down there a while.
Was. Yeah, they've been down there a minute. It's been like thousands of years since Atlantis disappeared. Yeah. So, I mean, good craftsmanship for that sword.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So then he gets out of the cave. He knocks off his shackles. He's like, he gives that epic look, with the sword. He's like, ah. And he kills some wolves because next scene, you see him with a bunch of wolf clothing. And then he runs into this really, really witch with apples or something. Oh, that's a different movie.
Yeah. No, that witch scene was weird. Like, she's like standing in the doorway of her house like, hey, come here. I have information, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost booty time. We're
in a mask.
We are back in Beastmaster and Highlander where they just get laid.
Cake. Give me some cake. Yeah.
Like these 80s action heroes got laid for just walking past a house.
Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. Arnold probably isn't like the worst looking fucking dude in the world. Right? I mean, like.
Maybe now. But yeah, that was an interesting scene. He like throws her into the fire and she like flies out of the house, but she's never seen again.
No.
Like I thought that would come
was
back.
A missed opportunity to not bring her back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes to leave, and there's this dude that apparently didn't notice the first time he was there. He's like, hey, man, give me something to eat. And he's like, what? Who are you? And he's like, I am Subotai, archer and thief. He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, dinner for wolves. So he gets a buddy. He's going to run off with a buddy.
Because he's saying, like, give me something to eat, because he's like, I'd rather die fighting than starving.
Yeah. They have ourselves a philosophical talk about the gods and things at some point. They start going to some different towns and villages and cities, doing some thievery things. At one point, Conan yells to everybody that they're all sluts.
Yeah.
Y'all sluts. He KOs a camel. But then they run into they're asking about the snake because he's like, dude, I'm on a revenge kick. What I miss?
Is the camel in both?
Yes, because they make the joke in the second one, which makes no sense because it's another stupid idiot and it's not Subotai.
Because he says, oh, does the camel look familiar?
Yeah, and it makes no sense. Okay. And there's a story when we get to part 2, why Subotai's not there.
I must have missed it the first time. Okay.
Yeah. So they're asking around about, these snakes, and one dude finally tells them the only snakes they know about up in this tower.
Snakes?
Black Lotus, Stygian, the best. Would I sell it to a slayer such as you? It looks like haggis. Yeah. Little off the mark there, but it doesn't matter. They run into Valeria. And she's like, you want to help me rob this place? And they're like, yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to do anyway.
After they have their little standoff.
Yeah, which was one of the more interesting parts of this movie. Maybe that part wasn't the best, but,
Well, again, she wasn't an actress.
No, she was like a fitness lady or something.
Or a pole dancer or something, yeah.
So they climb the Snake Tower. They go in the Snake Tower. And they steal the Eye of the Serpent. This is where, though, they run into Thorgrim. Yeah, it's not Rexor because he's beside himself later on. So they run into Thorgrim, the dude with the mustache, and they're going to do some ritual where some chick's just going to sacrifice herself.
Yep.
Because why not? Well, to get the eye, the jewel. At first, I always thought it was the jewel that woke up the snake, and then I realized it was Conan's sweat.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, man.
You know what I realized? This is really similar to the first Beastmaster in the sense of these people trust him so much they're willing to die.
Yes.
Like the priests who hang themselves and...
If you can dodge a child, you can dodge a ball. Because you messaged me at some point like, I really need some Rip Torn in this.
I think I said, like, this is a great movie, but it needs Rip Torn.
What'd I say? You can dodge a sword, you can dodge a ball.
Yep.
Yeah, so they escape out of there, but they have to kill this giant snake. But this giant snake, so this is pre-CGI, okay? There's no computer here. They have to build this massive, huge snake that even the movie, the snake in Anaconda would be like, whoa. Like, hold on here.
It's a decade before Jurassic Park, and it was an animatronic / miniature.
And I'm so glad they didn't go with like claymation or something, because that was probably a route that they thought of, and thank goodness they went a completely different direction. So there's this part of it where Conan has put his sword up through it, and somebody needs to shoot arrows into Subotai. Gets his gets his bow out, and he's gonna shoot the arrows. But apparently, the only person that could qualify, I guess they went through some people to test this, was John Milius himself. He was the best archer on the crew. So he says that he had to shoot arrows past Arnold Schwarzenegger's face into this snake. And dude, they're stabbing him. There's blood everywhere. It's glorious. It's absolutely glorious.
I like how nobody above, like 20 feet above them, noticed.
They didn't hear any of this going on.
They didn't hear it. They didn't see it.
They were in a trance. They were meditating.
Until the girl jumps down in the hole, and then she screams because there's a dead snake.
Yeah, it's like wiggling around because it's headless.
Yeah.
So they do that. Then they have to go before King Max van Sydow. I think it's called Sydow. That's his last name from Needful Things. He's King Ostrich, and his daughter has been taken by Thulsa Doom, or she just joined. However it works, he's like, you guys did this, you did this, and who are you? You are thieves. And I commend you. Like, badass guys. Like, good job. Like, you're just nobodies. And if you could do that, then, you know what? Go get the princess back. And he talks about how there's been other people. This cult has been so big. They're everywhere. There was another person who had been stabbed by his son. And he has the dagger, the fangs of the serpent. He's like, is this meant for me? Is she going to stab me with this? The raw emotion that Max gives here. He's been in Minority Report, so many great movies over the years.
He's in such a short part of this.
Yeah, well, there was some cut scenes that they couldn't get right.
Okay.
Where he's supposed to later on get stabbed by his own guards who have joined the serpent cult, but they couldn't. They had a blood bag on his stomach, and the guy kept missing the mark 2, 3, 4 times. And then he finally did it, but when he did it, blood splattered everywhere, and everybody started laughing. So they just cut out the scene, and yeah,
that's great.
So they're like, Go do this. Go get the princess. So they do. But Conan decides he's gonna do it on his own because Valeria's like, I don't know about this. And Subadai's like, I don't know. We're already kind of rich, and he's, I'm gonna do it on my own then. I got a dual purpose here. I'm gonna go get the girl, and I'm gonna get some revenge. Runs into the wizard. And he tells him a little bit about Thulsa Doom, and then he's like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna go water my horse, oil the sword. And then he gets one of my favorite scenes where the cult is about, everybody's all gathering like it's Woodstock, not 99. Woodstock before. And there's this dude, Arnold's like, he's acting all shy and ashamed. And this dude's like, hey man, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Hey. And he's like, oh, I'm ashamed of my body. And he goes, oh, you can't be ashamed of your body. And he's like, can we go talk over there?
Where nobody can hear us?
Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, sure. He's like, so is the robes all you have? And he goes, yeah. Wham! Like knocks the dude out. He's like, and it's all you ever need. Like this dude just totally hits on him like instantly. So like I said, like Earl's not a bad looking dude. This dude's like, yeah, man, let's And Earl's like, nah.
I love because then the next scene he's walking around in his robes. Like I wish they'd have been too tight or something. That would have been hilarious.
Because that was a skinny dude. He was a skinny guy. He was a tall, skinny dude.
But he makes his way all the way up to the altar thing, and like you have to give your necklace as like a press badge.
Instead of using the one dude's necklace, he uses
the one he stole from the snake pit.
Yeah, and then the one guard, Jimmy, with no name, is like, "Let me see that."
Yeah.
When you get this? Okay, that's fine. Go sit over there. And Jimmy's like, "I'm gonna get a promotion." Yeah. So Jimmy runs up to like Thorgrim and Rexor, and he's like, "Yo, dude, check this out." And the dude's like, "Shit!" It's like, "Where's that dude at? They had this." So Conan gets found out.
And they beat the shit out of him.
Oh, they almost
and they hang him from a tree.
Well, before that, you get some amazing lines.
Also, yeah.
I am the wellspring from which you flow. And he talks about the difference between swords and, because he's like, you killed my family. And he goes, who? Yeah. Like, I killed a lot of people, bro. Oh, I was searching for swords. I was younger. Talks about flesh and steel, points up at a chick. He's like, come here. Chick just leaps off this into this wooden thing, like it's a WWE.
She dies.
And he goes, that's the power, boy.
Jumps off this balcony thing, hits essentially the deck they're standing on, goes right through it.
Dead. Yeah, he's like, that's the power. That's the ticket.
The power of flesh.
Yeah. So he gets crucified on the tree of woe, starts biting some necks. So yeah, they get this vulture. Apparently, this vulture had died recently of strange circumstances. They said it was kind of stuffed a little bit, but anyway, every time Arnold would bite its neck, he'd have to spit out, and people would run up to him and like give him shit to gargle to like get the bacteria out of his mouth, because this was like a at one point living vulture.
Well, I mean, he's crucified on this tree, and this vulture's
dedication,
pecking at him, so he bites the vulture. I mean, yeah, it's a really cool scene until you realize it was a real vulture carcass.
I think it enhances it. Like that was dedication to the whole crew. We're not going to have some fake. Like sometimes you see a cat get thrown, you're like, oh, it's obviously a fake cat.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning throwing real cats. I launch mine onto the couch for fun sometimes. But what I'm saying is they took like an actual vulture and like that's some shit right there.
That's like if you find a fish that just washed up on shore and saying, I can eat this.
Oh, you gotta do some things to it. Yeah, so, but he gets rescued, Valeria and his Subutai to show up, but then they have to sacrifice some things to the gods. They're not sure what yet to get him to be resurrected, because he's like pretty much, he's on death's door.
Oh, yeah, he's
got to roll a couple of death saves. Like,
yeah,
he's
he
already
doesn't even
down
have 1
2
HP.
of them.
Yeah, he's definitely doing saving throws at this point.
Yeah.
And I love the very little bit of CGI that they tried to use. Well, not CGI back then, but
it's like drawing over it, like the Roger Rabbit
like these,
stuff.
like almost like soul reavers trying to take his soul, and they're fighting them off.
It's like the same stuff that was in the Highlander movie at the end when he wins the prize.
Yeah,
just whirling around. I know everything.
No, I really like that though. I thought that was a cool little touch. And he's like covered in these runes and everything. And
so Arnold says that while he's being drawn on, all these set people are doing all the runes and everything, that he fell asleep. That it was so soothing and relaxing. He's like, it was the easiest part of the movie for me, because like I fell asleep while they were doing this to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he gets resurrected. They're like, well, we need to go to the mountain and whoop some ass. So they're going to go to the mountain. They do whoop some ass. There's orgies. There's boobies. There's cannibalism. There's all kinds of craziness going on. And, but as you've always said, when we talk about magic, whenever you do something, there's always a price to pay.
Yep.
Poor Valeria pays the price because she's like, I'll give anything. Well, you're going to give something. Thulsa Doom takes a snake, turns it into an arrow, boom, shoots her right through the gut, I don't know, sternum, I don't know. It's in the side.
Well, it's weird. He picks a snake up, tells it to seek, and then he like caresses it into like a stick.
Yeah.
And then he shoots it in an arrow. I know it was a serious movie, but I was laughing very hard. Like, what is happening right now?
So he stroked the flats of the snake to make it hard, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and then he stabbed it into a woman.
Well, I mean, shit. End scene.
Oh, that basically lights the fire for the climax. I mean, obviously, Conan's pissed.
Yeah, well, he puts her on a pyre, and he was already told by the wizard earlier that no fire burns up on this hill.
Yeah.
Well, it
It's
fucking
too
burns
windy.
for Conan.
Was it because it was just so windy all the time?
I think so. I mean, put up a wall? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he figures out. He's like, you just didn't know how to build a fire. I got this. So then he's like, I'm gonna screw this dude up for this, man, because that's the last story. You killed my mom, killed my dad, killed everybody. Like, you're done now. And then as I messaged you, I'd seen this movie over 25 times in my life, maybe more, I don't know. But the princess, I'd never seen her walking through the orgy pit and everything with him. So the princess goes with him. He confronts Thulsa Doom. Shit goes down. Cult's over. And pretty much the movie's over. Yeah. Then they talk about future of Conan, how he could become, he is going to be king of Babylonia someday.
Yeah, rating out of 10, I said 7. I'll give it an 8 because I did really enjoy the movie. I go watch it if you haven't. It's a fun ride.
The music makes it. The acting. I don't think there's really any cheesy acting in this. Now, when their faces fall into the oatmeal, maybe, or whatever the hell they're eating,
when
the
they're
gruel.
drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of comedy, but I feel like they didn't give anybody more dialogue than they needed.
No, it's a very straightforward movie.
There was nothing super goofy. There is some stuff like when somebody gets slashed with a sword, there's blood bags. Sometimes people get stabbed in places that they're not supposed to, and blood kind of goes anyway. I mean, hell, at one point, Valeria, she lost part of her pinky.
Yeah. They had to go to the emergency room, get it sewed back on, because they were using real weapons.
Yeah, they had rubber swords, aluminum swords, real swords, depending on the scene.
Yeah.
And they were doing their own stunts. A lot of their own stunts. I guess there was also some people that were mad that, I guess it was PETA, probably. They was mad about horses being injured, but the stuntman's like, listen, if you look at the scene, because they have a bunch of like sticks set up of like, they're all super sharp, like, if the army comes into them, they get stabbed. But he's like, when I go down first, and I go through all those sticks, and I don't die, and the horse didn't die either. So frig off, Ricky.
They said they were rubber.
Yeah, and they probably were.
Yeah.
He's like, I went through them, but people would just be mad about anything. A great movie, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
there is definitely nostalgia for me because I grew up with this movie.
So
I grew up with Arnold.
When was the first time you watched this?
Oh,
because I know you said
it's
about
probably one of the first movies I remember ever watching.
So I know you said like Highlander.
Highlander, I watched.
Your friend's dad rented
grade.
it, and like was it Lethal Weapon? You watched it with your Graham and stuff like that. Like, what's your story for this one?
I don't know. It was just on TV all the time. So I'm sure.
Was it on the Beastmaster channel?
It was either TBS or TNT. I'm telling you, like Ted Turner liked these type of movies. I don't remember. I didn't go to the theater. I don't think anybody sat me down to watch this. I think it was just on TV one day, and I was like, oh, what is this?
Okay.
And I think I'd probably already known who Arnold Schwarzenegger was at this point. There's no fantastical story for this one.
Right.
And it was on so much, and I watched it so much, and I fell in love with it so much. I wanted, watching Highlander and Beastmaster and Conan and all these other sword fighting movies. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a sword fighter. I wanted to go around swashbuckling with swords, chopping people down, getting the hot chicks. That's what I wanted in my life. That didn't exist in our world. But I mean,
not yet.
I mean, look here. I went LARPing. I got LARP swords. I got a staff. I have a katana. I got lightsabers. That one there's from. It's almost like the Lord of the Rings one.
That's great. So
let's talk about. We've given it a lot of praise. But let's still get to the section. What is it, Josh, that you just like? I don't like this part of the movie. What parts of the movie knock it down to an 8 or a 7.5, 7.8? Like, what knocks it down for you?
The big thing for me had to have been some of the silence. I mean, I understand everything about it was done on purpose, but it's a pet peeve of mine, mostly in these older movies. There's long sections where there's no music, there's no enhanced audio, like someone doing sound effects. You hear exactly what's happening. Like, it's very calm, very quiet. And those parts, I don't know, they irked me because like I'm watching a dude make a tea over a fire right now for 5 minutes. This isn't necessary. It doesn't help the plot. Why is this here? But at the same time, you look at it from the other perspective, and it adds a sense of realism to that world.
And that's what they wanted in this movie, was realism.
People still have to do these things.
They wanted it to be they wanted to show a vision of like, there's a possibility this civilization could have existed thousands of years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
No, so I think that's the only thing I really didn't care for. Was, to me, it felt like there was dead air at times.
Okay.
And in a 2 hour and 10-minute movie, did it need to be there?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer is I don't know what movie we watched something recently that was an older one, and that one had a lot of silence in it, and and that one bugged me.
Was it Charlie Chaplin? Was it a silent film?
No, I don't watch those movies.
So what about you? What huge glaring issue dropped it from a 10 to a 9?
I kind of already said it, but it was like the blood bags and
okay.
There was some overacting in some of the sword fighting scenes, not like comical,
right,
but still like.
Well, there's a scene where a guy like he gets knocked backwards and he hits a rock, and when he falls to the side, the rock is soaked in blood. Like,
yeah,
dude, you bumped it.
Well, the one guy, he like he's drugged by a horse or something, and then he hits a rock and it's
explodes.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he's gonna bleed, but it's all gonna be on the inside of his jacket. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same scene.
Yeah, I think so.
As far as my actual and that's a low. I mean, that's a very small thing. There's not a lot of about this movie I hate. I think the acting is great, the dialogue, the action, the music. Arnold's emotional. The fact that he went through all that training. They all went through all the sword fighting training, the horse training. You can see the dedication that they put in. They didn't phone this in.
Yeah.
And to have Arnold Schwarzenegger like have a body like that, and it's not even the bodybuilder Arnold. They wanted him to look like a real barbarian, not somebody that walked out of the gym. So the fact that he changed his body for that is awesome. And Max's rendition as King Osric was just for the 3 minutes that he's there is just. I'm not even going to imitate the yelling that he did, but it's great. What were some of your favorite like what's that really kicks it off for you?
So
just to wrap it up,
I can tell you without a doubt, one of my absolute favorite parts of this movie wasn't the big action. It wasn't some like funny, quip. I messaged you earlier about it. They're burning Valeria. She's gone. And Subotai is walking away from the fire back towards the group, and he's crying. And the wizard says, why are you crying? And he just says, he's
he says he's Sumerian.
Yeah, he says he's Sumerian. He can't cry. So I will for him.
Yeah.
And I don't know what
this dude's not even an actor. He's a surfer, and he pulled that off.
Wait, I don't know what it was about that line, but it was just like.
And it's just a small sniffle, and just the way it
just shows the depth of emotion that everybody in this project obviously put into it. And I think that's one reason I like some of these older movies more than modern movies is you didn't rely on special effects or sound, tracks. You didn't rely on extra audio to cover something up. It was what you did is what you got. Like,
it's a memorable performance.
And to me, for some reason, that line that hits me like a ton of bricks. Like somebody else is feeling for you.
Yeah.
What about you? The whole movie?
Yeah, the whole movie was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really dig that beginning. It's not even Arnold's not even in it, but when his dad's talking to him about everything is really good. My favorite Arnold part.
Like this movie kind of felt like watching somebody's D&D campaign.
Yeah.
Like you saw each section, you saw people mess up.
I like the end of the movie. I think that's my favorite Arnold part.
The final confrontation.
Yeah, where him and he said that Arnold said that he and James had practiced it many times, and there was a protective piece on his neck. Because he had to sit there and like chop his head off.
Yeah.
But just not even just the chopping, but him just sitting there on the steps. He's the body's down. He's thrown the fucking head. The head's bop, 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 bop. But he's just sitting there at the end, just contemplating, like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
My whole entire purpose to this point was to kill this son of a bitch.
Yep.
And now I've done it. And he finally just stands up, and in the extended scene, the princess is down there. He just walks, and he walks like on her dress robe thing, for a step or two, and just walks off.
Yeah,
like that's it. Okay, well, shit.
And I forgot all about it. I really liked when he came up behind James Earl Jones before anything even happened. I thought for a minute Doom was going to talk him down. And he was saying,
that speech is good, though.
I made you who you are. Like, you would not be this person if I hadn't done what I did.
His mistake was he's like, I might as well be your father.
Yeah, and that was where you saw the attitude change.
That was that was mistake 3. That
was great.
Part 2 was killing my girlfriend. Part 3 was saying that you're my dad.
Yeah.
You're not my dad.
I think that's pretty much a wrap on the first movie.
It is.
Now, believe it or not, we left a lot out.
We breezed through that quite quickly. We might not be as kind in some of the things we say about the next one. Not that it's a horrible movie, but I think we both have some opinions. And with those opinions, let's jump into it. Josh, what is the second movie of this franchise?
The second movie is Conan the Destroyer, 1984, so just 2 years after Conan the Barbarian.
What does he destroy other than the box office? Does he destroy somebody's returns?
He destroys his reputation. IMDb dropped it down to a 5.9 out of 10, so it's still not horrible.
Yeah, well,
on my rewatch, I gave this a 6 out of 10 as well.
Rotten Tomatoes, critics, 29%.
Oh.
Audience, though, 38%.
Ouch.
This rating, I give this movie like a 7, like a 6, 7, depending on what scene we're talking about.
So I have written down, it's a sequel to Conan the Barbarian from 1982, obviously. Conan the Destroyer takes a much lighter, more adventure-focused approach, incorporating more humor and fantastical elements, I used that word for you, compared to the first movie's gritty tone.
What was I watching the other day? And I thought it was Walton Goggins or somebody somewhere used the word fantastical. It was Rob Lowe. It was Rob Lowe on the floor. He said fantastical. And I was like, hell yeah.
He's a listener.
Catching on.
He's a listener. He heard it.
Rob Lowe's a treasure. I like that, man.
So who is in this lighthearted movie?
Well, Arnold comes back as Conan. You get Grace Jones as Zula. Wilt Chamberlain as Bambata. Mako comes back as Akira the Wizard. Tracy Walter as Malik. Yay. Sarah Douglas. I'm sure he's a great actor and other things, but man, I got some opinions on this guy. Sarah Douglas as Queen Taramis, not my queen. Olivia Diabo as Princess Gemma. Well, her name is spelled Jehnna.
Yeah, it is Jenna.
It's Jenna. Bambata yells Jenna.
You gotta get the H. It's
Jenna. Pat Roach, not from Willow. No, he is from Willow. He is the man ate Thoth Amon. That's pretty much it right there. That's all you need to know.
Yep. So we do switch directors. We went to director. We went to Richard Fleischer. Screenplay by Stanley Mann. Story by Roy Thomas and Jerry Conway.
And who are they? That wrote the comics.
Yes.
Conan. They're the comics writers. Conan. They did the Savage Sword of Conan and the other Conans. So they get some writing credit on here.
Nice.
They wanted to do a comic book thing, so they went to the creators themselves.
Well, and they even
writers.
said, like, they tried to base this one closer to the actual Conan stories by Robert E. Howard.
Oh, Sven Ols Thorson's also in this as Tagra, but I don't know who that was in the thing.
Cinematography by Jack Cardiff. And the only real returning is Basil Poledouris, that I can't say his last name.
Basil Poledouris.
To do some more awesome music. Released June 29th, 1984. The budget was around $18 million, so just a little lower than the first. But remember, the first one brought in $80 million. This one brought in $31 million.
So here's the deal, everybody. If they're like, why is this movie just not as good as the first one? And you've always wondered this your life, but you never did the research. Let me just give you a quick snippet of why. So the first Conan makes a boatload of money. They're like, well, it wasn't a boatload of money, but we could get 3 boatloads of money if we make this PG so we can broaden the audience. Now, there's no PG-13 yet. It doesn't exist. It's either PG or R or X. You know, so they're like, let's just make this, as you said, lighthearted, fun, make some more jokes. Let's not have as much blood and no boobies. I mean, this just had to be more kid friendly. There is some killing in it. So, but the thing backfires because you said the box office. The thing is, people went and saw this and were like, whoa, this isn't the Conan we signed up for.
Well, I think they were going expecting another Conan the Barbarian.
So the original idea is there's supposed to be like a trilogy. John Milius wanted a trilogy where they were going to do, the first one's about strength, the second one's about responsibility, and the third one's, you know, about him being a king and whatnot. John Milius doesn't come back for this because he did try to give a treatment, but it was too wild and it wasn't PG, so you don't get him. And you don't get Subotai. You know, what happened to him? Well, the comic writers said that they actually eventually do a Conan 2 in the comics, which is an actual sequel to the first movie. And Subotai, he gets executed. And then it's a whole nother adventure. And so the original idea of this is like there's so many people in this movie that are good guys that were supposed to be bad guys and vice versa. And it all got mixed around in the final product. Bambata was supposed to be a bad guy. Okay, and Zula is supposed to be sort of a bad person, and it all gets mixed around. But anyway, yeah, it ends up being PG. It hurts it horribly. It's kind of like the Temple of Doom. It's the least critical, but some people like it a lot. Only this one, okay, it's not the same. People don't like this one as much either. Now, granted, I don't hate this movie. I don't think it holds up to the original or even the remake. How do you feel about that? Do you think it holds up to the original or the remake?
No, I think this is unfortunately the lowest of the three.
Okay. Then, well, at least we agree on that. Holy shit, we agree.
It was enjoyable. I did like watching this movie.
Well, there's parts.
I just didn't like it as much. And like I told you when I got here off mic, it felt like Highlander 2. It felt like Beastmaster 2. It
had good ideas, and it
felt like other number 2s that you could tell, hey, we had success. Let's try something different, and it just didn't work out.
It's like you went to an awesome restaurant, and you got a meal for the first time, and it's amazing. Like, dude, I got to go there again. Then they give you a plate the second time, and there's like 3 things you like on the plate, but then like 4 things you're like, ew, why did you put this on here?
Yeah, it was good, but...
Yeah, but definitely not like that first time, yeah.
So this was, I'm like 90% sure, my first time watching this movie. Thinking back, I believe
so many times.
I only ever saw the original Conan when I was a kid, and that was it.
I think they played this one a lot, even more on TV than the original.
Well, it was PG.
This one was on like repeat with. I think they played like Beastmaster 2 in this one. Well, they played Beastmaster 1 a lot too, but a lot of it was cut out.
Beastmaster, the Destroyer.
So yeah, we're not going to go through scene by scene, but like we did the first movie, we wanted to give the first one the real love and treatment it deserves. This one basically has Conan being promised that Valeri's going to be given back to him if he helps steal a jewel and a horn to bring back the dreaming god. That's the basic plot of this movie.
Yeah.
He's and a lot of things
hired.
Yeah. This is Conan the mercenary, the thief / mercenary. But the queen is going to have people kill Conan before he gets back. That way, you know, he's not there because they're like, well, maybe I don't know. Why is the queen like, oh, we should probably kill him? Does she think right away that he has a code of honor or something?
See, in
like
movies
he's a savage barbarian. You know?
Well, seriously, in movies like this, if they'd have just gone through with everything, but I guess she couldn't bring his wife back or bring Valeria back. But
yeah, she lied. So you get
if you'd have offered, if somehow like if you'd have offered money or something, if you would have hired him, let them complete the job, let them get their payment and leave.
This movie has one of the lines that when me and my friend Ryan Utner is in a talk, when we think something's so stupid, we usually use this Conan line to just kind of express to the other person how stupid it is, and it's, "You can bring back the dead?" Like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, that was bad.
In the YouTuber that I watched today, he brought, the same sentiment I've been feeling for years. Like, you didn't think to stop and ask how? Like, can you give me a demonstration? Can you at least juggle? Can you give me something here?
Like, you've shown me absolutely no magical abilities.
You gave me a little illusion over there.
5 minutes ago, I obviously didn't trust you for shit. But you know what?
Like, he already hates magic. Like, why would you trust a magical person? Like, they dumbed Conan down a little bit in this one, and it pissed me off. Conan is supposed to be philosophical in ways. He's supposed to, yes, he's brash and he likes to rip into people, but he also is a tactician. He's a thinker at times. He's not just a dumb brute. Barbarians get a bad thing.
The first one hinted at it as well. Yeah, they just hinted at it being the dumb barbarian.
But his father was smart.
Put all of his points into intelligence and charisma, or maybe not charisma, but not into intelligence or charisma. He put him into strength.
It's just, oh man,
it just doesn't add up.
Me.
Yeah,
that right there sums up the movie. You can bring back the dead. I mean, you get Andre the Giant, which is awesome. Oh, Andre, and but the thing is, Andre's already a little bit older. He doesn't move that well. He already has massive back problems. They put this huge Godzilla type suit on him, this rubber, like he should be out of the Guyver. He can only swing his arms a certain way. It's, oh my Lord. Now, a funny thing about this movie is at some point, the early paparazzi kept bugging these people on set. So I don't know who specifically it was, but apparently some of the cast mooned the photographers.
Oh man.
And therefore all of Dune, which is being shot next door by Dino De Laurentiis, which first time we're mentioning him, which is a huge thing because this is the dude backing this entire thing financially, most of it anyway, the first movie and this movie. He's doing Dune because he wants to be close to Conan. That's why they're shooting in Mexico. He wants to micromanage to make sure things are PG-ish. As the studio makes money, he makes money. So they moon, and now the government in Mexico is like, shut it down. Shut it down. I think it's Mexico or Spain, one of those type of places. The government, wherever they're at, shuts them down, which costs them like, oh my God, like so much money per day for being shut down until, it can be smoothed out with the government and they can restart filming again. Yeah. There's apparently Schwarzenegger, Grace Jones, and Wilt Chamberlain had like a really good friendship, and they were always joking and laughing. I'm guessing it was them that was mooning people. It'd be hilarious if it was Andre the Giant, even though he was only there for a quick minute, if he was the one that did it.
So he was the creature at the end?
He's Dagoth.
Did not realize
creature,
that.
yeah. They needed somebody, like, have you ever look up a picture of Arnold, Wilt Chamberlain, and Andre the Giant, and Wilt Chamberlain has Arnold in one arm, and Andre has Arnold in the other arm, and Arnold's feet are dangling off the ground. Arnold Schwarzenegger is only like 6'1". Like, they make him so much bigger. And it's weird because his physical appearance in this one. So the first movie, John Milius is like, I don't want you out of the gym. I don't want you looking like a bodybuilder, Mr. Olympia. I want you to still look big and awesome, but I want you to look like realistic. Like somebody like this looks like a barbarian, actually, because the barbarian is not doing sit-ups and push-ups all day. Okay. Right. Now, the Fleischer and Dino, we'll just call him Dino, for the next movie, are like, no, we want you to be more comic book accurate, more Howard accurate. We want you to look like you are Mr. Olympia again. So Arnold has to do this whole routine over again. He'd already been in Hollywood, so he's like, for those 2 years, and he's already kind of like, smoking his big cigars, and he's like, nah, I don't know, fine, I'll do it. So he has to get in Mr. Olympia shape all over again. And I will say about this movie, he does look meaner. In this movie, he just like.
And did you notice he had a headband?
He did, yeah. He ain't sweating on nobody this time. Nobody. I do like the scene though where he does have to rip the horn off. He was like, ah!
We jumped all the way to the end, didn't we?
He did. Well, I mean, we're not going to go. We don't have time.
No,
we already spent an hour in the other one.
I will say that there's a scene earlier on where the whole reason he was hired to go get this gem, go get this horn, and they go to this wizard's like palace.
Thoth Amon is from the books, and that's as far as it goes. Like,
yeah.
he's a mishmash in this movie of actual Conan villains.
But there's a room that this shape-shifting wizard or whatever he is, it's just mirrors the whole way around the room. And Conan's trying to figure out how to hurt this thing.
Apparently, they went through a crap ton of issues trying to like film that because there's mirrors everywhere.
Without getting the cameras in it?
Yeah.
I bet if you look, you could find a camera.
I don't want to watch it again. Not yet.
But the whole idea was like he had to break the mirrors to hurt the creature. I thought that was genius.
No, it's a cool idea because he's swinging at him and his sword's going through him.
Like, I would love to use that in a D&D game someday.
I love when he lifts up the cape though, and it's just shattered glass.
Yeah.
It's shattered mirror, I should say. But I mean, all through this time though, you get this one dude. Look, it was stupid. Malik. You get Malik. So you don't get Subotai in this movie. You get Malik instead. Malik is, he's this guy that talks like this, kind of like he's Ren and Stimpy or something, No, Conan.
He is Benny from The Mummy. That annoying side character that
he is like that guy.
That don't care about.
Yeah, I like that guy better than this guy though.
Yeah,
he keeps eating jewels, like he's just gonna shit them out later.
Yeah, I know.
I guess if they get captured, then I don't have them, right? They're in, there is a scene in the next movie where somebody has something in their stomach though, some Saw shit. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but so like, I don't care for it to dislike part in it. I'm gonna say it now. Conan at the very end, he's done it. He's beat the beast. He takes his sword and he stabs it in. And there's this triumphant Basil score behind him. What does Malik do? Walks up with his dagger, plummets it down, and puts his Captain Morgan leg up. And it just ruins the entire thing.
Yep.
If I was Conan, I would have cleaved him in half. Like, how dare you? I'm sure the guy's great in other things, but this character, I'm not talking about the actor, the character Malik sucks. He's annoying. Oh, maybe I should wait at the horses. Maybe I shouldn't go in. Well, I can't be left alone. Like, he's just annoying the entire fucking time.
Yeah, and there's a part where he's like hitting on Zula.
Yeah, he's like rubbing
his hand up her thigh, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm tending your wound." And she's like, "Well, it's down there."
Yeah.
Like,
and
bro.
Just to say wound when he said where her hand was and everything, just, oh man. Yeah.
He is what kids today would call cringe.
Oh man, he's definitely not PC. I don't know, how does woke work in with this guy?
I don't know.
You don't know. Then I don't care.
I don't even think woke would want him.
No, anybody. No, you're gone. I don't even want him canceled. I just want him to never have been.
Yeah.
So.
But at least we got a cool wizard battle.
We did. So Akira, because they bring him along, who they have to save him from cannibals, and they're like, well, what are we doing? And he's like, I'm going over here. I need to go get my wizard. And they're like, what do you need? He's like, there's magic on this adventure, and there's magic. I'm bringing a magician. Like, shit, man. Like, come on. Like, what do you want me to do? And you see what he does later. He doesn't do shit against magic for a minute.
Well, like, because at one point she's just like, you have to listen to me. And he's, what was it? Something like, didn't anybody tell you how this works? And he's like, there's magic. And he just walks away like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but there's the keepers of the horn, and that dude was cool. He kept like clanging his wrists like he was Wonder Woman, and he's like shooing people away, doing like, if you had shadows, you're doing shadow puppets. Yep. You know what I mean? And but like he's trying to open the door, and Akira's trying to close the door, up and down and up and down and up and down. And then Akira like blinds him for a minute, but he eventually gets the door open. So I don't know. I'd like, whatever happened to that guy? You know what I mean? I guess we'll never know. But yeah, so you do get a cool wizard on wizard battle, sort of.
Yeah.
Know.
So fun fact: Arnold got almost double the words in this movie. 1,200-ish.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple I wish he wouldn't have said.
One of the interviews, I guess, I think it was Arnold. Somebody stated that Conan is a man of few words. We'd rather let his actions do the talking.
Part
you know
one?
what?
Yeah.
It worked in part one.
However, there is a scene that Jenna, we can tell right away she's got a thing for Conan. She's like, oh, dude, hey, what's up, Beefcake? How you doing, buddy? And but there's a scene where he's drunk. He's just like, he's not feeling it. He's probably thinking of Valeria. And she's kind of hitting on him. And he's trying to explain to her about Valeria. And as a guy who's been around drunk people before, and I've obviously been drunk before, and I'm sure you have, but he does this thing where he just kind of wafts his arm. He's like, there. She says something. He's like, yeah, that's what I mean. Right there. But it was just played so well. Like he was playing a drunk guy. So, like that was some range for Arnold right there. Like it wasn't over the top cheesy
like when they
drunk.
teaching her how to use weapons and.
Yeah, that one was a little, that part of it. But I mean, like when he was sitting down.
Use a sword. What?
He's like, then you hold it like this, and she then like drops to the ground.
Like, now you can take anyone. No, she can't.
The sword weighs as much as she does. Get out of here, man. Oh,
jeez. So even though this movie wasn't as well received as the original, would you say it was still a fun movie?
Yeah, there's good fun parts to it. If you ignore the stupid stuff and just let your mind go, okay, whatever. Like I accept the fact that there's going to be some cheesiness occasionally. You know, it's better than the Eye of Braxis, where they pretty much ripped off this Conan movie for Beastmaster.
Oh,
yeah, like the Horn of Dagoth, the Eye of Braxis. Like it's, you know, he's got a rip thing. It's a thing.
So did you know? Well, you already said, so yes, you did know. This was supposed to be number 2 of the trilogy. Did you know why 3 didn't happen? It's because of this movie.
Because it lost money and people are like, oh shit, no thanks, I'm not buying another one of these.
So what I was reading is basically Schwarzenegger's career took a shift. He was becoming more, I guess you could say, dedicated because he had signed on Terminator in 1984. He was looking at Predator, which was coming in 87.
Again, these movie themes, they're in my head right now.
And then later Total Recall, but I mean that obviously wasn't in the scope yet. But he was starting to move away from the sword and like the sword and sorcery style roles.
Yeah.
And these other roles he was getting contractually obligated to be there.
Well, he's contracted for 5 of these Conans, and he only did 2.
Well, but he couldn't do it because I guess they had trouble getting the rights to a 3rd movie because the studios were so freaked out by that not profit that happened that they didn't want to do it.
I mean, it's already hard enough to get somebody like, hey man, you want to go see a movie about wizards and swords? Even today, 2025, I can still talk about D&D around some of our friends, and there's at least one of them that goes, like, dude, you play Pokemon Go, and yet you talk shit because I play D&D.
The one guy I work with, every time I bring up D&D, he fucking nerds. It's like, dude, you were the only person in this room. There's 4 of us. You're the only one that thinks it's nerdy.
Yeah.
The one guy is almost 60. He's been playing since he was in his
Well, he was playing the original.
Yeah, he was. He's been playing a very long time. The other one started playing 1st edition and has slowly moved his way up through. I'm like, and even I have been playing for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
You're the only one here
that thinks it's
stupid. What's the phrase? Read the room.
Right.
But yeah, the 3rd movie, supposed to be Conan the Conqueror or King Conan. They never nailed down a title. It later became called The Conqueror, where they took essentially the same script,
Kevin Sorbo,
tweaked it around, and
put heavy metal music in it.
And they gave it a 4.8 out of 10 in 1997. It still took over 10 years to get that made.
It was around the time of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Call the Conqueror with Kevin Sorbo?
No. I've seen Hercules.
It's interesting. It's not absolutely horrible. There's a lot of heavy metal, and he has an axe. Which in Conan, a lot of Conan stories, he has an axe. And in this one, he uses an axe, like one time?
Yeah.
Like a quick second and throws it down. Whereas Cull uses an axe. But Kevin Sorbo is neither Jason Momoa or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He's Hercules.
So. And he was friends with Xena. And Aeolus.
But that's Conan the Destroyer, number 2 in the Conan trilogy. That didn't happen.
Yeah, it was a lame duck for sure.
They did make an attempt at a revival. They did a complete reboot, start from the beginning. Let's retell Conan's story with a twist. And that's when we get director Marcus Nispel. Nispel, who had just done Pathfinder and actually a Friday the 13th movie.
Which, listen, Pathfinder, dope-ass movie. I don't know if you've ever seen That's a dope-ass movie. I got that randomly on a DVD, and I was like, oh, Viking thing? And I was like, dude, this movie rocks.
Yeah.
One thing has Native American like type stuff in it, which is amazing. To mix Norse and Native American like stuff, Cherokee and all. Oh, my God, it was awesome. And then I didn't like Friday the 13th at first because I saw it in theaters. But as my rewatch last year, I was like, this movie isn't that bad. It's not great.
Is it?
But it's not that bad.
Jason X? Or is it more Freddy versus
it's better
Jason?
than Jason X. It's better than Jason X.
Okay.
Sure. I don't know if it's better than Freddy versus Jason. This Jason runs.
Oh, okay.
Which pissed me off at first. But he's just more vicious in this one. He just doesn't give a shit. Has Padalecki in it. Jared Padalecki.
Oh, yeah?
He's the main guy.
All right.
He got cast because they wanted somebody big to take on Jason. But Nispel has been known for being kind of a visceral, kind of like no nonsense blood and guts type dude.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a barbarian movie,
oh yeah, good choice. Screenplay written by Thomas Dean Donnelly,
we might have different opinions.
Joshua Oppenheimer, and Sean Hood. Music, we don't get Basil.
No, we get what, Tyler Bates?
Yes, Tyler Bates.
The 300
He
guy.
did 300. He did Guardians of the Galaxy.
James Gunn did
James Gunn just put in his mixtape. I mean,
that's the soundtrack.
Cinematography with Thomas Kloss. Release date was August 19th of 2011. Budget around $90 million.
I put a lot of faith in behind this.
$90 million.
$1 million.
All right, now let's look at the trend. First one, 20, made 80. Second one, 18, made like, what did I say, 32. What do you think 90 million brought back?
Domestic or worldwide?
Just total.
I'm going to say this one probably made 60 million.
63.
Oh, damn, I was close.
And
I definitely did not research that. I seriously didn't.
It lost a third of its production value.
Watching the behind the scenes today, they were so hopeful.
Oh, yeah.
So hopeful this movie
was
was going to do good.
considered a massive financial failure.
Yeah, it was.
Jason Momoa. Man.
Yeah. International Movie Database, IMDb, 5.2/10.
Yep.
Rotten Tomato critics, 25%. But that's okay because the audience is at a 30%.
But you just sounded like, what's his name from Family Guy?
Which, I don't know. Oh, Cleveland.
Yes.
That's 25. No, see, now if I'm thinking about it, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. I can't do it, everybody. My rating for this one, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10 as well.
So I
still like it better than Destroyer.
I gave it a 7 out of 10. I liked it better than Destroyer. It had a top-notch cast. At least I thought so. And I thought it was a good movie.
Well, see, here's the deal. Momoa wasn't massive yet. So you get Jason Momoa's Conan and Stephen Lang, with Don't Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the movie? One of the ones where he's a blind dude. He was in the stupid Pocahontas in space movie by James Cameron.
Yep.
Which he was awesome in there. Rachel Nichols had been in, Star Trek the reboot. She was the Green Orion chick.
Rose McGowan.
Yeah, I mean,
Charmed. I mean, Ron Perlman.
Yeah, but Ron Perlman's in a lot of them.
It had such a solid cast. And I feel like most of that budget probably went to paying these people.
It probably did. Yeah, because Ron Perlman couldn't have been super cheap.
No, I feel like the most expensive on that list would be Stephen Lang and Ron Perlman.
I liked Ron Perlman here, but it would have been cool to see Clancy Brown take that role instead as his dad.
Ooh, that would have been.
Dude, Clancy, if they did a remake, like Clancy Brown as like the Thulsa Doom-ish dude would be dope. Even at his age now, that voice of his, because he doesn't need to be physical, he just needs to have mental power over people.
I think that's a good.
I just
that's
pitched
a fan
good. Yeah, I
cast.
just pitched a good.
And then Henry Cavill as Conan.
Well, he's gonna be Highlander.
Both.
Yeah, I mean,
What if Conan was just Highlander back then?
a lot of theories. I don't know.
So we mentioned who else in this movie.
That's the main people. Rachel Nichols, Ron Perlman, Rose McGowan, Bob Sapp, Ukafa.
Was it Saeed Tagmawal? I think it's how you pronounce it.
El Shan.
Yeah, El Shan, the thief and ally.
He's been in things. See, I don't know. It's those parts of the movie that kind of, I feel like that's shoehorned in there. That's just kind of pushed in. You need a squirrely little guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He wasn't in it a lot, but.
They need that comic relief person.
Yeah, I feel like
they
Conan's,
don't need it.
Jason Momoa was funny enough with his one-liners. And there were very few, but like he was funny enough. I don't need somebody to go in and go, cha-ching, zinger. I don't need Zingbot in here. Like that's not what I need.
They've really showed off Conan the pirate. They showed off Conan the thief, Conan the mercenary. Like they were getting a lot more rounded.
So they wanted to go back to Robert E. Howard again. They wanted to go back to pay a lot of homage to the John Milius movie. Like, and if you look at Conan's sword, which I don't really like the steel itself, but if you look at the handle, the end of it has like the goat hooves.
Yeah.
From the first one. Doesn't have that really cool skull face, but it's still, they wanted to go back. They wanted that feel. And they also wanted to bring in a sense of violence.
But they did.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. And they wanted to go back to some practical effects as far as, kind of getting away from CG. But I mean, obviously they're still in here. They had to. I don't know how much they did that, because when I saw that in the behind the scenes, I'm like, I just watched this movie and there's a decent amount of CGI.
Oh,
Not horribly done, but there's a decent amount in it.
Not amazingly done, but there's a lot in there.
I don't think it was horrible for the time. It's 2011.
Well, okay, I'll give you that.
Better than like Resident Evil and some of those other.
So what is the biggest difference you noticed in the beginning of this movie?
This is an angry Conan.
Yes.
Angry Conan kid.
Conan isn't, he doesn't watch his parents die right away.
No, I mean, his mom's
he's
dead, but
born
out of blood
on the battlefield, like in the middle of a war. His father cuts him out of her stomach.
Born of battle is my notes.
Well, and they even say at one point, like, most children taste their mother's milk. He tasted his mother's blood.
Yeah, and this is Morgan Freeman this time.
Yes.
Doing the intro instead of Mako.
I was so confused because remember I texted you and I said starting Conan 1982. Oh, what did I say? Ron Perlman, and you're like,
you mean 2011?
So I acquired this one a different way.
Well,
and
sometimes you can't trust that friend that gives you things, dude.
And it was it was marked as 1982, but it was the 2011 version. So I don't know where you got it, but check your shit.
Check your shit.
So I ended up just going out and finding it, and 99% of the stuff we cover in this podcast you can buy on Amazon for like $10.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
So
no.
Don't ever ask to look at my Amazon video library because it's getting really big.
Right. Yeah, so the basic thing of this movie is Conan has to, as a kid, watch his father die in front of him, and then he wants to find the dude who put him in that scenario.
Well, and it's all because the dude is the dude, not the Big Lebowski. He's trying to get the pieces to put this like mystical mask back together. So instead of just killing the father and finding it, no, let's put him in a really crappy situation and leave the kid alive.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of what I like about this movie, other than the beheadings and the blood and everything. So Conan has a tragic story. Okay, so the first movie, we don't know Thulsa Doom's original story. We don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Queen Taramis, she wants to bring back Dagoth in part 2, but we don't really know much about her. You know, at least with this movie, when you're looking at Zim, Kalar Zim is his name, and his daughter Marique, you get later on in the movie something about him. You find out that he wants the mask to bring back his wife. You're like, well, okay, he's sad, whatever. But then you find out as he's yelling at this monk priest, you guys strung up my wife and you fucking burned her alive, you bastards.
Yeah, because they thought she was a witch.
Yeah, and he was like a nobody. He couldn't do anything about it at the time. He's like, you guys, like you Salem witch trialed this lady.
Yeah.
So screw you. You think I'm just going to bring the world in the darkness? I don't care what happens.
And they
I just
even
want my wife
showed
back.
it that he and his daughter were chained to the wall like slaves, watching her burn.
Yeah. So not only, you feel bad for Conan because he's trying to make sure this molten sword lava doesn't fall on his daddy's head. But then you also, at least I did, feel for Stephen Lang's Zim character because like he just wants his wife back because she was like, I don't know if she was a good person or not. We don't know if she was good. And so she was a witch. So what? Mako was a wizard and he wasn't bad. And there's a visceral rawness about the magic in the Conan, the Hyborian world where it's kind of blood magic. It's ritual. It's fucking primal.
The priest even says at one point, like, yeah, she was bad.
That was his version of it though. You know, like who knows? Like there's a lot of people now that say people are bad. I'm like, I don't know. Vice versa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's also the dynamic where his daughter has abilities. Marique can see things. She can do things. She knows magic. She's like, Daddy, if this doesn't work out, and he's like, it will. She's like, yeah, but if it doesn't, I can do this stuff.
Yeah, but he didn't trust her. He wanted his wife back.
Yeah, and he kind of even though he's trusted her to do so many things, and this thing here at the end, he's like, no, I don't trust you for that. Yeah. But there was some creepiness where she was like rubbing up on his shoulder. I was just gonna say there was some weird like incest, like something. I almost wonder if there was supposed to be a side thing there that they didn't. I don't know. It's a weird, different realm. Who knows how they roll? But he pushed her away. He's like, nah.
Well, she got on her knees in front of him.
Well, she was like trying to plead to her dad again. I'm trying to be devil's advocate.
Yeah.
It was weird. Okay, it was weird.
All right. Yeah.
It wasn't, remember like Mortal Bones? It's like, I'm really your brother. Wait, what?
Now get on my bike and let's go fuck. Yeah. All right. So Invader Zim has his reasoning. And we do find out he is looking for a pure-blooded descendant of an ancient bloodline. That's the whole reason that he, messed up that.
Well, that's he got the mask, but now he needs. It's the same in part 2. You got the stone, but you need the horn. He's like, I got the mask, but I need the chick.
My question is, what did the mask actually do? Because there was a point in the beginning where they said, they spread it out among all these tribes because together it made someone super powerful and one person can't handle it. Well, when dude put the mask on, he was still just himself, but he was able to cast the magic to bring her back. What did it actually do?
Conan didn't.
Other than face hug him.
Conan didn't give him time to do anything with. I don't know. I have no idea.
What is she to come back as a xenomorph?
There's that.
Yeah. So, and I like
Rachel Nichols is the.
I did really like how him and Tamara, Rachel Nichols, how they meet. He jumps on the carriage, rips the roof off because he's looking for Zim.
He thinks Zim's in. He's like, I'm going to kill this son of a bitch. She's like, who are you?
She's like trying to stab him. He's like, no, really.
Who are you? He's going the complete wrong way.
Yeah, he was.
It was a good horse. So Rachel says
that was a great chase scene.
She said that she got to do the whole carriage. She's the one doing the carriage at the end after the one part rips off. She's taking care of the horses. They did also a bunch of sword fighting, and I said in part 2 the Grace Jones did a bunch of sword fighting training, and I'm like, she used a staff. Like, what the hell did she need sword fighting for? But whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, this one here, they also went through a lot of rigorous training. I like that in the one that I watched, you saw Stephen Lang and Jason Momoa actually going at it behind the scenes a little bit and joking with each other. Because Stephen Lang, sometimes you get a really machismo type actor, and then when they're not acting, they're just kind of whatever. He's actually kind of yo, I'm a man, dude, and yeah, I'm gonna go with Momoa. I don't care how big he is, dude. I'm gonna take this dude on. I don't give a shit. And Momoa's nuts. Jason Momoa is a crazy guy. Okay, the dude's nuts. Outside of Hollywood, the dude is he's a wild guy. He's a fun dude. He's a wild guy. There's a reason he's going to be Lobo. The dude is a little bit out there.
He does
Khal Drogo. Okay?
He does a lot of advocating to save the coral reefs and stuff, though.
Oh, he does.
I mean, we'll give him that.
I like Jason Momoa as
he seems like a good.
Seems like a cool dude
to go along with his good acting. I guess he was on Baywatch at one point. I don't.
Oh yeah, he was. Dude, you look at pictures way back, and he's like my size.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a small. I mean, he's better shape, obviously. I am 42. He's 19, whatever. But yeah, he's a small dude. Now he's just he's almost Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. Dude is massive.
Which I had that in my notes. He did Khal Drogo the same year this came out, which means
sword fighting.
Which means 9-10ish. They were filming this. He must have beefed up hardcore because he's muscular in this.
But he's not big.
Huge.
He's almost like Conan.
Right.
Yeah. So I've only heard 2 times of a stunt coordinator, sword fighting guy talk about how amazing somebody was. And they talked a little bit about Arnold, how he picked it up quick. We talked about Aragon. We talked about Vigo being so good. But they really praised Momoa. They said that they would do things on the fly, just come up with stuff that would, the director, let's do this or that. And he said that he would just pick it up. They said he was so natural.
Well, and I was reading too that he did 99% of his stunts. He wouldn't let people.
They couldn't find anybody. Who can you really get
that looks like him?
Yeah, whipping around.
Well, I guess he wouldn't even let them. He wanted it, kind of like Tom Cruise. He wanted to do his own stunts.
the video where he's jumping up the sand people fight. He's jumping up and they have wires on him, but he's still doing the jumping. He's still doing the leaping. There's one where he runs and he rolls on the table. He does all those things on it. He's a rugged guy.
Yeah.
So
on that, the sand people fight, that's one area that I didn't care for the CGI as much. I thought it looked the Mummy-ish, kind of rough.
I can see that.
But
it's sand.
It grew on me by the end. At first I'm all right, come on. But then by the end of that fight, I'm that was pretty cool, actually. I gotta admit. And then they top it off by jumping off a 150-foot cliff and somehow didn't die.
True. I feel like somebody's leg would have got broken somewhere, collarbone possibly.
Can you imagine belly flopping that sucker?
Oh man. Zim's sword, though. What the hell are we doing here? Why? You're so practical of so many things. It looks so fantastical. And then you got this stupid wannabe double sword. Because I'd only seen it once before this. And I was like, man, his sword has 2 blades. It's kind of weird. And then he rips it out and it goes one way and one the other way. And I was like, oh, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. That I didn't care for. I'm glad he didn't really do that in the end fight. He kind of used one sword.
Yeah,
mostly.
I would rather have watched somebody try and steal a neutron bomb with the Beastmaster chasing you. Or Neutrino.
It's Arklon. Arklon. Get it to Arklon. That's a good bad name. Arklon.
No, it was a cool concept.
You can dodge a neutron star. You can dodge this. Oh, wrong villain.
With prosthetics.
It was a good note.
So, yeah, I mean, we have that little exchange. So the one part, I'll say it right now, the one part I didn't like just felt completely out of place. I understand they tried to add a little humor to this as well. It's more of a modern movie. They have that balance that they try and do. But when he catapulted the one general's body, like, with the note stuffed in his mouth into the building that Zim was in.
It was a little bit overmuch.
Come on. Yeah. And that camera angle of, like, looking up at him while he's flying through the air. Like, give me a break.
A little bit much. Yeah, sometimes you need to learn, like, even doing a fantasy movie, you still need to learn to ground a little bit.
Yeah.
And listen, I have the same issues kind of with Gladiator 2. I think it's a fine movie, but I don't think it comes close to Gladiator 1 because Gladiator 1 is so fucking grounded.
Yeah.
It's just so realistic. Whereas the second one is just like, what? Why are we doing too many crazy things?
If you're going to do something like that and you want to send a message like that, you do it like they did in The Return of the King. And you just launch the heads back. That got the point across really clearly.
Yeah, it sure did.
I remember seeing that for the first time. I was like, what the?
Well, how about the beginning of this movie where he does the egg chase so that to become a warrior, to fight with the warriors, you have to go through this race. You have to have a little robin's egg or something in your mouth that can't break. Now, during this race, some of the pics, which at least they finally got the pics right, you know, with the face paint and stuff from like the early comics, that's what they look like. Mm-hmm. They look like really angry tomahawk, you know, Iroquois type, you know, people.
Yeah.
So some of all the boys that are running with Conan, even though Conan wasn't initially supposed to be in this race, kind of like Wonder Woman, where she wasn't supposed to be in the race or something. Like they run off, they're like, oh shit, we need to get back to the village. Conan's like, fuck this. Little baby Conan's like, I'm gonna take these dudes on, and he does. He just like annihilates everybody
out
and
in the middle of the woods.
Shows back up, throws a bunch of the severed, like not even just severed heads. He like cuts them off of their jaw.
Yeah.
Brutal, like good prosthetics there. Like I got some when you walk through like the terror farm or something, you see stuff like that. But then he spits out his egg that's still whole. Like that just initially, that scene shows how amazing this Conan in a way is. This Conan is so vicious, but yet so eloquent.
Yep. Well,
in his movements.
And the one behind the scenes video I was watching,
a lot of neck sword stuff in this one.
Yeah. Well, they said that they were going for less of the strength-based brutal Conan and more of the dexterity, the more dexterous tactical
version. They wanted him to
version.
look more like he did in the, like they describe him in the books, more slim down. Yeah.
He reminds me of what the main character in Prince of Persia should have looked like.
Not Jake Gyllenhaal?
Not Jake Gyllenhaal.
Maybe Jake Gyllenhaal if he'd been from the Roadhouse movie where he looked like he was cut out of fucking stone or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, good movie.
The remake Roadhouse?
Yeah, I liked it.
It was fun.
I liked it.
Definitely not as good as the first one, but it had some. But, yeah, I mean, Conor McGregor is a troublesome person, but like he works for this.
It was a fun movie. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we jumped around a lot.
That's okay.
But in the end, they end up in a final confrontation because, go figure, and bad things start to happen.
Yeah, they go into like the skull cave and you know, they got.
Well, I think it's funny because he bangs her. He bangs the princess.
Yeah, the virgin lady.
Yeah.
Was she supposed to stay? Oh, so she doesn't have to be a virgin. She's just
the
a pure
blood.
That's okay.
And then she decides to go for like a morning walk. Because like he got off the boat, she was supposed to sail on the boat and go to safety. No, here his buddy on the boat.
They said something about you have till sun up or something.
He forgot his map. Why don't you take it to him? And then on her walk back, she gets abducted. Like, what did you think was going to happen? You're being actively hunted.
Yeah.
So
not the smartest move. I liked her character, but that was not a smart move.
So I like how it cuts to them taking her back. Look, we've got her. But then it cuts to Jason Momoa's Conan making the trip all the way to the City of Thieves to get help. And then all the way back.
Yeah. Oh, I thought about the logistics here.
And in this time, which had to have been days easily, a week.
Yeah, because they had to sail beforehand, like from the one
Somehow they still haven't gotten to the point of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And they knew exactly where to go. I don't know.
Yeah, this is why it's a 7. It's not a 9. It's not an 8. It's a 7.
Yeah.
In case you guys can't count out there, which I'm sure you can.
And so, and my favorite was Conan knew she was taken because she found one of Rose McGowan's fingernail ring thingies on the ground. Why would she leave that behind? She knows it fell off.
I do like how he cut her hand off, though. Rose McGowan's
that was
hand.
Great. She's getting ready to do some like nasty cutting shit and just whoosh.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna pull some idle hands here, and whoosh.
She screams and then she falls and gets skewered.
Yeah, by the post.
Yeah.
So then the dude's like, dude, my wife's gone and my daughter's gone now?
Dude, you could see him snap.
Yeah, he's
Stephen Lang just snapped.
I like Stephen Lang.
Yeah.
He should have been Cable. I've nothing against Josh Brolin, but he would have been. He was going for it. He's like, here I am, pictures of me in the gym.
Oh, seriously?
I'll be Cable. Yeah. He was vying for it.
He would have been good
And
Cable.
they went to Josh Brolin. Yeah.
And now we'll never get Cable again because people
probably
didn't.
not. Unless Stephen Lang still does it.
I like Josh Brolin, but people didn't like him.
Not enough.
Not
as Cable.
Yeah, they liked him as Thanos. But it's okay because people reprise roles in the MCU, like, Tony Stark being Doom and Thanos being Cable. And so, yeah, we get Stephen Lang snapping, and Zim decides to go into hardcore fight mode. And Conan ends up with his daddy's sword back. He's rocking. I like that part when he grabs the blade with his bare hand so he can rip it out of his hands. Like you see his hand cut. But then magically it's perfectly fine. He's able to use it.
So here's my thing with everybody with hand sacrifices in a movie or hand grabs on blades. Okay, apparently if you need to do a blood sacrifice, you have to cut the middle of your hand. Now here's the deal. About 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was at my old house, I was trying to do a house project and I was using a box cutter and it slipped off of the piece of molding that I was cutting and it went straight into my palm.
Ooh,
and it split open. It looked like you took a chicken thigh and you just cut it open.
Where did it go in?
It sliced this here. You can see my scar.
Okay, so he's pointing from the
from the bottom
knuckle of the thumb down that fleshy part into the palm.
Yeah. It was just like kind of hanging open, blood everywhere.
Ooh.
Emily gets me in the hospital. So so when they just do these slices, like what, and then they do things afterwards, like they ride a motorcycle or they swing a sword or
you're cutting tendons.
Dude, like even just when I get a splinter in my palm, like I did the other day, I'm like, oh my God, this hurts so bad. Like
okay, great example. Great example.
A slice of my hand open.
My buddy Derek was helping his dad do a tin roof. So they had these big.
Oh no! You just said tin roof. That's not gonna end well.
Sheets of sheet metal.
Those are so sharp, dude.
He was up on the little flatbed trailer thingy trying to help get it, and the guy who brought it, delivering it, unloading it, there were too many stuck together. So he pushed on them to break them apart because they were stuck. It went into both of his palms, right across the center. So I mean, like from between index and thumb.
So where is that line that all the
basically it was right across
the
that
magical
line.
ladies in the tent always tell you what your lifeline is or whatever.
He lost pretty much all movement in his fingers. Like
I'm lucky I can move my thumb.
Thankfully they bandaged him up. He's good now, but he still has very limited range in a few of his fingers. You cut across there for a sacrifice, you just made that hand useless.
Yeah,
unless you're like lightly scratching it to get a little bit of blood.
Here's an idea: just get a little my forearm right here, just kind of how about just a little
cut the weenus. The elbow.
Right I literally.
It's like here's an idea. Just punch me in the nose.
I get nosebleeds a lot. Can I just blow into a tissue and you just take that? Can that happen?
No. You have to render your hand useless, but then use it immediately after.
Yeah, stupid. But that was cool that he did do that.
He gets his sword. He's fighting two-sworded. Zim magically pulls his double sword out, but
he just makes it two swords, which is fine. He doesn't do some swingy.
And we did get a really cool fight.
Yeah, it was good.
It went on for a while.
Well, they go. So Rachel Nichols' character is stuck on a wheel, and she's going down this fucking well, and they're on the wheel, and the wheel's flipping. And it is falling and catching on things and are fighting on the wheel. But then what happens is, like with any other, way back to the early 80s, I guess they did call back to the 80s, the villain has to fall way far down into the dark multi-nothing.
So that whole part reminded me of Temple of Doom when she's in the round thingy, like going up and down.
Spielberg's wife, yeah.
Oh, man.
Those are good movies. We'll cover them at some point. We will.
Definitely.
I promise.
So in the end, I'm guessing you can, make the assumption they win.
Yeah, they win.
Now, this is where I thought something was kind of cool. They have the main characters in the little throne room. Princess is now the queen because obviously mommy ain't around anymore.
Princess is the
Oh,
queen.
wait.
No, that's Conan 2, bro.
Jeez.
No, he leaves Rachel Nichols at the monastery. They go back to
right.
the monastery. And she's like,
I watched them on the same day, okay?
oh my goodness
I'll start that over.
Yeah, okay, well, Zula ends up, in part 2, she ends up, like, all of Conan's crew goes with her. Even, she's like, I need a fool, and he fucking falls over on the steps because he's an idiot. But she's like, I need a king, and he's like, nah, that ain't my jam, homie.
Yeah.
And if I was Conan, I would have done, like, oh, let's talk about this over drinks. And then split, right?
What do I get paid?
Dude, that was nice. That was nice. Yeah, what do I get paid? Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
No, so this one ends with him basically just peacing out.
Yeah, he's like,
it's over. We're good to go.
He's like, I have to go. He's like, I do something, and I slay.
Yeah.
I slay all day.
And we're not even going to touch on the octopus thing. We're not going there.
The dweller.
That was just a really horrible scene. I didn't like that at all.
Well, you didn't like the dweller scene? I
really
like the dweller scene.
But
it feels like every movie from Lord of the Rings on has to have some tentacled monster somewhere.
But yeah, instead of settling down, Conan decides to just continue living as a wanderer.
Yeah. He's going to slay all day and all night, apparently.
So what did you think of Jason Momoa as Conan?
I think Jason Momoa definitely was good in an alternate universe as Conan to a certain extent. A little too wild, a little too brash, but I guess that's how he's in the comics. And there's nothing against him personally, but like Arnold's just always going to be my Conan. That's just the way it's going to be. But I didn't hate Momoa. I the first time I watched it, I remember having a bad taste in my mouth. That was just like the Stephen Lang thing for some reason. It sent me from back then. I guess it was just too much. I mean, at the time, we are looking at like Scorpion King, post kind of movies.
Oh, we were getting like a fantasy overload.
Yeah, just the way the pirate ship was and everything. The whole movie just left a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, being a little bit more mature and dissecting the movie better now and actually like, oh, well, maybe I should do some research of why did they make these decisions? And okay, it doesn't mean I have to agree with what they did, but I understood the swings that they took. Momoa, personally, I could see how invested he was in the role and how he is. I didn't know much about different Conan versions at the time, so
right.
I think it works there. I do, but I still like the Arnold version better.
All right. So like I said, I watched Conan 1982 yesterday. I watched I started 2011 by accident yesterday, but I watched 82 yesterday, 84 and 11 today. So this is all very fresh in my mind.
Right.
The biggest, I liked Momoa. I thought he was a very agile. It was a good take. I liked it.
He had some angriness to him.
He did, but I know this might sound a little weird. I didn't like his quippiness. In my mind, Conan has always been a serious person. Like, yeah, he might have a sarcastic comment, but he's not intentionally making jokes. Like, he's always been more of that serious fighter.
Which is weird because if you listen to the writers and the producers and everybody, they completely say the opposite thing. Like, oh, he should be this quippy barbarian. I don't remember reading comics or seeing TV. Like, I don't maybe I just glossed over it, but I don't really remember that. I
mean, maybe I'm reading the wrong comics, but he was never like a jokester. He was a straightforward
I'm not saying he
dude.
never said anything funny, but he's never been. Now, obviously, he's not Deadpool funny, but I don't remember him really. Like, even Wolverine's has better, quippier one-lines, you know what I mean? But that's that Freddy Krueger thing where even in horror movies, eventually, because Freddy Krueger's making so much money, everybody tried, and they did it with Kurgan. They tried to make him more funny.
Yeah.
And if watch movies like this and seeing the tragic behind...
Kurgan worked.
It did work. But just go back to what James Earl Jones said about having somebody that's kind of a teddy bear and a little bit more quiet and psychopathic. That might have worked as well. But we'll find out. Hashtag get Clancy Brown into the next Conan movie.
I would totally watch it.
Yes.
I do deep dives. I usually end up on Reddit forums at some point.
You sure do.
A lot of people are saying that this is a darker, bloodier Conan compared to the first two.
Oh, it is in a way.
So while
in your face.
While this version is definitely more brutal, like there's more blood, there's more 300 Game of Thrones feeling. A lot of people are saying that the overabundance of violence was overshadowing any character development that was possible. I feel like some of the special effects definitely took away from some of the possible character development, but I don't know. What do you think? Being my first time watching it, I was watching it with a skeptical mind because of this.
I can see their point. So what I'm seeing here and what I'm hearing is, Conan, because I think people already kind of knew who Conan was, they're not going to change him a whole lot. So you still get tragic parental death, just slightly different. So why give him more? It's the same as when you get 50 Batman movies or 50 Spider-Man movies. In this case, there's not 50 of them, but they're like, well, we know who the fuck Conan is. So we don't need to give him more of a backstory. But that doesn't excuse them for not giving any more backstory. Like, who was Rachel Nichols really, her character? I keep saying her real name. Yeah. But like, I would have been nice to know more about her. Tamara. But at least we got Tamara. Yeah. Why didn't we get, at least we got something about Stephen Lang's, Zim. Yeah. At least we got Zim and Marique. But yeah, Tamara, we just know that she's part of the pure blood line. We don't know anything about her. If they would have, now granted the scene that I was talking about with the other belly with the warden, where Conan as a kid cuts his nose off and he runs into him later, only to find a way to get to Zim. That's the only reason this dude pops up again. But all the prisoners have to tear him apart to get to the keys to the cuffs and he makes them swallow it. If we kind of slim that scene down and cut that out a little bit somewhere, then you probably would have got some more character. But then part of the problem when people talk about the 80s versions, even part 2, even though it's a lot faster paced, the first one is like, oh, they're boring. I've heard people say that, well, they're slow and boring. But then you get a movie here that's balls to the walls action. I'm like, well, there's no character development. It's the same kind of fans that bitch about pacing. They bitch about CGI. They bitch about character development. They bitch about anything under the sun. Some people just like to complain. I think over time, this movie has found a small following. Okay. Maybe not as much as the first and second one did. I think people are warming up more to it now. But since this has come out, you've had Game of Thrones and shows similar to that have been a little bit more brutal. And I think that helps. I don't know when Game of Thrones really came out, so I don't want to step on my own tongue here. But I know, well, you said he was shooting at the same time as Khal Drogo, so they came out around the same time. So maybe now that we've had so much Game of Thrones-ish adjacent stuff, maybe people now are like, okay, it's not so bad. But at the time, maybe people were just struck off by it. Maybe they wanted something different, but they didn't. Right. It's the Superman problem. We want a different Superman, but don't ever change the Christopher Reeves version. Right. Well, what the hell are you supposed to do? And I feel like sometimes creators are kind of they paint themselves into a wall, and they don't, because they're trying to appease everybody. They got the producers, the director, the fucking studio company. They have 17 screenings before the movie's released because they need to go back and do reshoots, and that pisses me off. I'm kind of mad now. And I'll go on a little bit of a rant here. I'm kind of mad now that so many movies are made, and they're given 17 different endings. And they have all these focus groups, all these screenings, and then they still do massive reshoots that cost $7 million, and then they lose $30 million, and they complain. Just make the product that your gut tells you to make. Yeah. And make sure it's not under Sony. Yeah. So, something I want to comment on that. You were saying about, like, a lot of people say the older ones are boring. Some people say that, yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with what we've mentioned before, TikTok brain. Yeah, people are so this to this to this to this. Nobody can focus on one thing for more than literally like 30 seconds. Those older movies were designed to build a world, build a story, bring you build into anticipation. That way, when it's like watching a firework go up in the sky. Okay, boom. All right. Well, let me ask you this. All right. Because you just watched all 3 movies in the past week as well. Sure did. Think to James Earl Jones in the ending. Okay. And think about Stephen Lang in the ending. Stephen Lang in the ending is basically Palpatine. But which one was actually impactful, physically satisfying to finally watch? Also Doom. Yeah, I mean, finally, after this 2-hour movie, you finally get to see the protagonist take the. Well, the first movie's not bloated with extra shit that doesn't need to be in there. And that's a part of the problem with the new. And even though I like 2011 and I do like it better than Conan the Destroyer, it's still a bloated movie. Yeah. There's so much. They're trying to cram so many things in there. Even though it was the shortest one. Really? It was like an hour 45, I think. Was it just a horse chasing scene the entire movie? No, that was half. Oh. And the other half was an octopus fight. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I hate that scene, but
I don't know.
I hate how he didn't really fight the villain too much. Like the villain got killed by the monster.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I do have. I want to say though. Okay, some of my dislikes for this are the villain's falling demise, which we've covered a few times now. But so Conan ages. Marique ages. None of the other villains age in this movie. Stephen Lang doesn't age. None of his bad lieutenants
they didn't
age.
give him like more gray hair or something.
Maybe a little. I don't feel like he aged at all. And the score was okay. I'm sorry, Tyler Bates.
No, it was generic.
And I'm gonna toss this out to so many other people. Like I need a Halloween theme. I need a Lord of the Rings theme. I need something, a Star Trek theme, a Star Wars theme. Give me something that is gonna stand the next 50 years. Where you're gonna be, say you're 10 years old now, and you watch something and you hear a score, you're going to be 42 at some point and going, oh shit, that's Knight Rider. That's me. Dun, 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 dun. Like that, right away. You hear the A-Team, you know it. And it's not just because I love the 80s. Like some people are like, oh, you're so like whatever. It's because that shit was memorable. They made it to last. Now it's just like, oh, well, let's just take that one and just retool a little bit. Let's just rehash. Let's get some originality going on in here. Anyway, let's talk about the future of the franchise before I get too angry. Because I love these movies. I do. Even though I talk shit about them, I do like these movies.
Well, there was originally plans for a sequel. And that was before the 2011 dropped. Like, I guess they were looking at maybe trying another trilogy. Yeah, the 2011 movie, that reboot killed any chance of Conan being made for the notes. What I found online, the article said for the past decade. Obviously, it's been 14 years now. So,
yeah. And
they're just now talking about a new one.
Well, I know Schwarzenegger has done some things for Netflix with mixed reviews. I didn't watch Fubar, and he's done. I just watched End of Days from 1999 the other day, and I was like, damn, that's a good movie, man. Like, everybody hated that movie. Well, that's a good Schwarzenegger flick. But, if you get somebody like Netflix to put a couple bucks behind it, it doesn't have to be. I mean, even if they try to do they've had 2 cartoons. Rolf Mueller took on the role, which we didn't really cover here at all for the TV show. And he tried his best. And I remember seeing a few episodes and I was like, it was like some Xena stuff. It was kind of cool. I thought they were crossover. They never did, I don't think. Maybe, I don't know if they, instead of doing a movie, make a TV, do a season. But then you might get a Willow where you kind of leave it open and then you don't get another part. People are so finicky. It's hard to, even the Lord of the Rings right now, Rings of Power, people are very up and down about it.
Yeah.
And that's a slow moving show. Maybe that's why people are irritated right now, because it's a very slow moving show. You have to wait for the action to happen because the action happens when it's supposed to. That's because, oh, we're bored. Let's throw something in here. Like, it builds to things. And TikTok brain, like you said.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, as of right now, I couldn't find anything official.
No, there's nothing official.
I found lots of
stuff. Other than a Red Sonja thing.
Yeah. I mean, I found tons of stuff saying that Henry Cavill's going to be the next Conan. Schwarzenegger's coming back as Conan. There's even some trailers, but they're all AI generated.
Yeah.
There's absolutely official. No official
I don't even
news.
know who owns the rights at this point. I don't even know.
I'm not sure, actually.
No.
I do know, though, is like you were just saying about Netflix, like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, the fact that it's not just Hollywood anymore. It's not the Universal and these couple studios that they all talk to each other. It's now streaming services with their own studios.
Well, I said about the Russo brothers movie that just dropped. When it dropped like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, our time, like I didn't even know the movie was being made.
Yeah, exactly.
I had no idea. I was like, wait, what movie is that?
Exactly. Like they could
no idea.
See, I think
Apple TV could drop a Conan movie out of nowhere. You wouldn't even know. I'm not sure they're the right company for it.
Adam Scott is Conan. No, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's one of those things where if they wanted to, they don't have to rely on the big companies in Hollywood anymore. They can just go do it. And that's why if one of these like Netflix, if they get a screenplay,
I'm so curious how Netflix makes money off of their movies, but anyway, continue.
But yeah, like if they would get a screenplay, they're like, hey, this could work. They're just gonna do it. They don't have to go through all these.
Look, they're doing a He-Man movie after all these years.
Yeah,
it seems like they're remaking the Dolph Lundgren one, but I'm still.
You know what? There you go.
I love. Yeah.
You want to revive the MCU? I want 0 trailers for Secret Wars. Just suddenly one day, drop the movie.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, people would rush to theater. No advertising, no trailers. Just, hey.
Yeah, because you know.
On day one, advertise the shit out of it as, here it is. Go watch it if you want to know what it's about.
On Wednesday, it drops Friday.
It would be
Boom.
massive.
Yeah. Because you were going to get 30 different alternate trailers for that shit.
Oh, my word. I know.
And I'm going to, like, dude, I'm going to throw out my phone.
I finally watched Brave New World. And all the good parts
were in the trailer.
Oh, no.
Just from
this part wasn't. No, most of that was. It's just the little extended part.
I saw so little of those trailers. I only saw you're watching the football games. I was sitting there watching the Lions and the Eagles, and boom, he's on. You can't get away from it. So yeah, if you guys want more of Conan, there's so many. I did read some comic books leading up to this, but there's Savage Sword of Conan. There's King Conan. There's legitimately probably 30 different titles of Conan. Go back and read the Robert E. Howard books. I started reading The Phoenix and the Sword, the first one, and then it's actually really good. And the guy's a very eloquent writer, in my opinion. If you've seen these shows and you want more cinema, go watch the 2 cartoons. Go watch the live action version with Rolf Mueller. I mean, Marvel's done it. Dark Horse has done it. It's everywhere. It's not hard to find Conan. It really isn't. Let me ask you a question. And really, Arnold Schwarzenegger in another one. Go watch the 80s Red Sonja movie, which is okay at times, but you have him playing Calidor, but he's kind of just playing Conan. Where would you cast Adam Sandler if in a reboot on Netflix, on Amazon, whatever company have you hear it is officially happening, you get to cast Adam Sandler. Where are you doing it, man?
In any role of any one of these movies, or just the original?
Like, you can say a funny answer, but like, you're the director, they're throwing you $90 million to do a Netflix Conan movie. Adam Sandler's like, I want to be in this movie, dude. You're like, okay, I'll cast you. Where are you going to cast him?
Man, that's actually a tough one.
I would cast him as one of the wizard helpers, like Mako's Akira.
Yeah,
he'd be the wizard dude, just this bumbling wizard guy. That way you get the comedy and the magic, 2 pieces done, but not too funny. But it's Adam Sandler, so he can make it like not cheesy funny, like stabbing a dagger into a dead fucking demigod.
See, I was leaning a lot more towards Wilt Chamberlain's position, the bodyguard.
Okay,
just because I could see him playing that seriously, but with a few kind of like wisecracks here and there, like, oh, wow, fuck.
What do you think he would feel like when the princess looked like? Do you think he's handsome? And obviously, she's talking about Conan. The statue, and he's like, no, Conan. He goes, I don't know. And she's like, well, I mean, he's the first real man I've seen, other than you.
I hear him saying something along the lines of like well,
you're not a real man. Or Wilt Chamberlain.
I can hear him saying something along the lines of like, well, it makes me hard.
Gotta play with your cock and balls. Yeah, show me your cock and balls.
Oh, so I do have some behind the scenes. I was going through marking off ones that we've already talked about, and that's like over half of them for the first movie.
Throw them out there because my notes are done. I mean, I have other stuff, but you know what? As I said before, there's so many videos that you can watch.
Oh, yeah.
There's the makings of and Wikipedia files, and people do top 20 things you don't know about Conan. So
the first one I have here is James Earl Jones almost didn't get the role of Thulsa Doom. Also in consideration were Sean Connery and James Huston.
I'm the wolf. No. Got that out now. I don't think I do a Sean Connery. I'm the wellspring for what you flop. No,
you gotta do a French, Welsh, Scottish. Let's see. The final decapitation scene was achieved using a real sword with a prosthetic head. So, I mean, obviously.
They shot back and forth.
Right,
yeah.
But the actual cutting part, it wasn't just like it was pre-severed. They actually had him cut the head off of a mannequin, essentially.
Shows the brutality, dude. I love it.
Yeah. The giant snake that Conan fights, we did say this. It was a mix of practical effects and animatronics. Some close-up shots using a real python, however, were used for the realism in that shot.
Yeah, they did that sort of too when Thulsa Doom changes form. They had they said they just had the mask and they just pushed a snake face through it and then had like a miniature snake. Yeah.
And I remember they also said too, like they had a snake that they like did a mini set for. Then Conan the Destroyer, 1984.
Yay.
You said he had to put on a lot more muscle. Wilt Chamberlain was so tall that
Like
they had to
7'1" or something.
7'1". They had to constantly adjust the shot just to make sure Arnold was still in it.
I'm trying to remember in the picture I saw, like, because Andre was billed as like 7'1", 7'2" or something. Curious who was legitimately taller, because wrestling heights compared to real heights are different, you know.
Okay.
But I remember in the picture they're pretty damn close to each other. But then like Andre's like 3 Wilt Chamberlains next to each other. He's just like a huge dude.
Yeah. Grace Jones, who played Zula, who would later go on to be a Bond villain. She insisted and performed her own.
Is she a villain or
stunts.
just a henchman?
I think she was one of the main henchmen.
Okay.
I forget
Must be a Roger Moore one.
I think it was
Been a
Man
while
with the
since
Golden
I've seen
Gun for some reason, or Moonraker.
That's gotta be
One of those.
That's definitely Roger Moore.
But yeah, she insisted on doing her own stunts, including all the horseback combat, like where she was riding around Wilt Chamberlain, like turning the horse real fast and coming back. That was all her. She was actually trained on the horse, which I thought was kind of neat. And then Conan the Barbarian 2011. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kellen Lutz, and Jared Padalecki were all considered for the role before Momoa landed it.
Well, Kellen Lutz did Hercules, which it was not a good movie at all. And then The Rock did Hercules, which is kind of okay. And Padalecki, as far as I know, has not done Hercules.
Can you imagine though how like Supernatural would have been different if Padalecki did Conan? Because he'd had to bulk up so much.
What's he? He's like a 6'4", 6'5" guy.
He's a tall dude.
He's a tall dude. What's up, Lurch? I like how they call him Lurch in the show all the time. Fucking Lurch.
One of the things that impressed the interviewing team for Momoa was he performed a Haka-inspired performance.
So the thing I watched, they weren't completely sold on him. But they kept coming back to him. So the director calls up Momoa, says, show up in Hollywood, up here in the hills, bring some sort of costuming. Momoa brings some leather stuff he had. And maybe he done Stargate Atlantis at this point. I'm not sure. The guy shoots him, puts a fog machine out there, shoots him, gives him a sword. He's like creeping through all these fake plants. And then he's having Momoa, he's yelling to him, and Momoa's like, yeah, he's yelling to me on screen, fucking stab the plant, slice the thing. And Momoa, like, and you see, and I watched the video of him like hacking and slashing these plants. And then he like stabs down in one and he lifts it up and half the pot comes up with him and he's annihilating the pot. And that video, the director took back to the producers and everybody said, this is our Conan. And they watched and go, okay, yeah, this is our Conan. Yeah, they actually did like a fake shoot to show how well he would be with the sword. And he was doing really good with the sword, which I didn't realize until you told me that he was doing Game of Thrones at the same time. So, of course, he was already being trained in sword fighting. Momoa's a good sword fighter,
He did a Haka battle dance as part of his one audition.
That's awesome, dude.
Where's he from? Is he
He's
New
Samoan.
Zealand?
He's Samoan.
Oh, he is Samoan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
See, that's
half
cool.
quarter something. Yeah, he's always doing the hang loose and.
Oh yeah. The filmmakers chose Bulgaria for most of the filming for its rugged landscapes.
It's a good choice.
And lower production costs, which they felt it was the ideal landscape for a Hyborian world. I thought
it's based on that area, Hyboria, where Samaria is based. It's Bulgaria, Hungary. It's all in the middle of Europe.
Yeah.
Like it's central. I mean, I thought
it was a good choice. Rose McGowan's character, Marique, her prosthetic claws, bald cap with weird hair, elaborate face paint, and all of the extra prosthetics. It took over 4 hours every day just to put on.
She said it was fun to do some girl fighting with Rachel. She said it was,
oh, really?
It was fun to actually get in there and mix it up, yeah.
That's great. Instead of the, like Schwarzenegger's brute force that he used, Momoa focused a lot more on the acrobatic swordplay, which was actually inspired by the Filipino martial arts as well as Japanese, kenjutsu, something like that.
Some sort of jitsu.
So he had to take some, like, not really training, but, like, I guess classes just to understand the movements better, which...
He looks like he could be a parkour-ish type guy. And that's what they wanted the same people to do, is parkour-ish. But he looks like he could do stuff like that. I mean, he did then. Now he's a lot bulkier. And I like how he now just, like, lets himself go in between shoots.
Oh, really?
He's like, I don't fucking care, man. He's just
he's filthy rich now.
Yeah.
The script was originally extremely violent, more so than what we got, and it was closer to Howard's original storylines. But of course, the studio intervened, and a lot of scenes had to be toned down and altered, which is why, due to studio interference, there were entire parts of the film either changed or removed entirely post-production.
Yeah.
So
Retrospect, I could see that.
Leading to like a disjointed plot where things just didn't line up, pacing issues. Kind of gave me Alien 3 vibes of where like there were multiple visions on it, so things were getting cut and chopped.
So what happens? You got 12 different people wanting 12 different versions,
Yeah.
man. Like, shit, you got to just let it direct. You hired the director to direct.
Yeah.
Let him direct.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. I completely agree. And then the last thing I have is just that apparently most of the monsters and special effects were done very late in production, and therefore a lot of them were rushed, which is why some of them didn't look as clean as they could have been. But like you said, it was also 2011.
Yeah.
I mean, we could only get so much out of it.
It was better than Sharknado.
What? Whoa.
No.
No.
Conanado? Just a bunch of Conans with swords. Yeah, come here. Good to catch you.
That is all I've got on Conan. Let me just say 3 movies in 2 days.
I was like, I didn't think you were going to watch them all.
I actually loved it. Like I said, I'd seen the first one a long, long time ago. I didn't remember probably.
I kind of want to play a barbarian in D&D now.
I didn't remember most of that movie. I really didn't. And it was so much fun to it was like the first time.
That's what I like about rewatches sometimes is you're like,
Well,
you remember the main point in the movie, but you don't remember all the intricate little scenes.
Well, the second and third one, they're definitely like the first time because they were my first time. And all in all, I got to say 1982, 2011, and then 1984. That's my ranking.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Original, remake, destroy.
And I would go 876. My grades.
977.
All of them solid, fun movies to watch. I would watch any one of them again.
Yeah, Destroyer's good if you just throw on the background.
Yeah.
I think the remake. It's hard for me if Conan the original's on for me not to watch it.
Right.
If the other two on, I can kind of look up and go, that's cool. But if like the original's on, I'm gonna be like,
Let me put it this way.
I
will watch Conan the Destroyer again before I watch Highlander 2
Oh, okay. All
or
right.
Beastmaster 2 again.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay.
But it's Harklon, man, and it's Gary Warher, and it's time
The
travel.
ground under the zoo broke open and there was lava.
That's how California works.
No,
it's there's lava underneath.
If we had camera set up, you would understand the frustration on my face.
I can't defend that movie, man. It's stupid fun. It's just stupid fun.
It's stupid or fun. Pick one. I'm not giving you both. I mean, the cops drive through a portal.
The Keystone Cops. Oh, I love them.
Like we said before, they're either amazing or they're idiots.
They were dumb as shit.
So, if they remake Conan,
yeah,
who would you want to
and
play
you're gonna ask
Conan?
me this, and I don't know. It's got to be an unknown.
John
dude.
Cena?
Get the fuck out of here, John Cena.
That's my question. Like, for real, if they remade it today, because we were talking about Highlander, we'd love to see Henry Cavill as Highlander, or maybe even Michael Fassbender as Highlander.
Michael Fassbender probably would have killed it.
Yeah.
He's just a little bit older now. Like, I want somebody young just in case they can carry a franchise.
Early 30s. Old enough that they've been around a little bit, but young enough that they can still go for a good 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at Conan, who would be a good Conan to put in there? Jason Momoa again?
No.
I mean, you got to think bulk, but you got to think personality.
I want somebody that's kind of muscular but compact. I don't want somebody as big as Schwarzenegger but not as skinny as Momoa was. John Rhys Davies. Just rolling around. Harrison Ford. Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Now, I thought about this all day because I knew I was going to ask you, and I'm not sure.
Jay Barenthal.
Oh.
I know he's playing Punisher already, and we already have that.
He's a little older now. He's in his 50s.
God, he don't fucking move like.
Well, late 40s, 50s. But I mean, no, he's got that intensity, and I don't know. What do you think out there? Comment below, blah, 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 if you must. Let us know who should be the next Conan.
You know, a lot of times I watch TV shows and movies, and I think to myself about things like this. Like if I was remaking a movie from back in the day, and like who would be Riggs, or would be Murtaugh, things like that. And
okay.
I haven't ever ran into anybody, you know, in the last 30 TV shows I've watched where I'm like, that dude, if he bulked up a little bit, could be a good Conan. Like I really haven't. You know, if they went a different way, I'd say Mike Coulter, Luke Cage,
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller, I didn't like him at the beginning of his career, but
he's a good actor, but he's not Conan.
He could be in the movie somewhere, maybe not Conan himself.
But what was his name?
Mike Coulter?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Luke Cage guy. I mean, he's already like 6'3". He's
could
in
be
shape.
intense.
The guy plays Reacher. Alan Richardson. Like, now he's saying, I'll play Batman for free.
I just saw an interview with him where he was saying he was never supposed to be Reacher. They wanted certain height, certain build, and he didn't meet any of them. But they let him audition anyways because, you have to.
Uh-huh.
And apparently he nailed it, and they loved it. But they said that they had a hard time hearing a lot of his dialogue because there was this weird interference, like a thump, thump, thump. And he realized it was his lapel picking up his heartbeat. He was so nervous.
Oh,
so he said he kind of removed the mic and like put it away. And he's like, I don't know what it was, guys.
Yeah, somebody like that, somebody that has that physicality to them.
He's a big dude.
Is a big guy. And he's athletically big. You got to be an athletically big guy to play Conan.
Man, I don't know though. Does he
Schwarzenegger, even though he was big,
but does he have the personality?
He can move.
Conan, Schwarzenegger, even though a lot of people say he's dry, he had the personality.
I think Arnold has a way more personality people give him credit for. I've seen from Twins, Conan, Terminator.
I want to see somebody
Jingle All the Way. Even he does so many different things.
I want to see somebody that we all know that we'd never expect to get in there, and not Pedro Pascal.
Is Pedro Pascal going to be the guy with the bandage over his eye?
No, the nose.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, let's get John Krasinski. Beef him up. He's tall.
I'm gonna have to really think about this and put. That's
what I'm saying.
Together.
I couldn't pin.
I probably should. I probably should have thought about this before. I was so focused on Adam Sandler.
But no, for real. All right, if you're out there and you have an idea who should play the next Conan, let us know. Who should be the big villain? Let us know. Where should Adam Sandler go?
Should Alexandra Daddario be the love interest in the next movie?
Oh, that would actually be a heck of a good cast. I still think she'd have made an amazing Red Sonja.
Back in the day, she would have been probably decent as Red Sonja. Here you go. You want somebody that's lean but still big? Patrick Schwarzenegger. Guy from White Lotus. He plays
Hero Boy or whatever.
Yeah.
In the Gen
there you go.
Z.
Patrick Schwarzenegger to pick up the mantle.
Could you imagine picking
I doubt he would do it because I'm not sure he's on good terms with his dad and he probably doesn't want anything to do with it.
We all know it's going to be Chris Pratt.
Oh my God.
Or Bradley Cooper.
I'd take Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper probably would have been a good Highlander. But anyway, he was just on the first episode of the Righteous Gemstones. He's the ancestor of the Gemstones.
Okay.
Fantastic Civil War episode. Absolutely amazing. But with that being said,
yeah, we're gonna get out of here.
Let's do some. If you want to support us, go to our Patreon, do that thing, and there's a possibility that you could, for a limited time, get a tumbler engraved with your name on it. Like, that is amazing. I carry mine around, doesn't have my name on it. He didn't think I was cool enough to give me that, too. But he'll do it for you. He will. We'll do it for you.
Patreon.com/Tree of Geek. For $5 a month, you can become one of our Patreon members and get access to our exclusive content, behind the scenes photos, chat with us live, I think, because no one's ever used it.
I mean, you could, yes, hypothetically.
For a limited time and a limited number, we're going to be giving away Tree of Geek tumblers engraved. We'll put your username, your real name, whatever you want on the back.
Do you think it's going to be like next year? We're still saying this about the time.
Probably.
Like next Christmas for a limited time only.
I did have a friend who was eyeing it. He's like, I really, really want to do it. He's like, because I really want my tumbler.
Like, just ask him, what else do you waste $5 on a month? On your fucking Netflix subscription? Like, dude, hook us up, bro. Like,
yeah, $5 a month, people. And if you do want to reach out and get a hold of us, you can always jump over to X, Twitter, whatever they call it nowadays, Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to say Instagram. I think that's where we're most active.
Are we on Truth Social?
Absolutely not. But I kind of want to now, just because.
Just because I said.
We are spreading the truth about geekiness.
You're damn right, man.
And for the record, this podcast is not and will never support any political candidates outright. We keep that shit to ourselves.
That's right. But there's a few we won't support. We just can't say them out loud.
John, we thank you for being a Patreon member.
Yes.
Unconfined You, we thank you for being a Patreon member. I will happily say your name if you join Patreon as well as send you a tumbler.
I don't know your name, but thank you to the blah, blah, blah person. Thank you for
thank you
interaction.
Commenting. We still don't know what you meant. So
you know what? I'm going to call you out now. I want blah, blah, blah in every single one of our YouTube videos from now on. I want you to go there, listen to it every single time and write blah, blah, blah. I dare you. I triple dog.
It's probably somebody who, like, we were on their recommended and they just jumped in and said, nah, not for me. Blah, 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 and left. We'll never see them again.
Well, I dare somebody else to pick up the mantle. They have like the fake serial killers or what are they call those?
Copycats.
Copycats. I want a copycat, blah, 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 blah.
All right, well, we're getting out of here. Join us again.
I live here.
2 weeks. We're going to be diving down the D&D rabbit hole. We have a guest coming on.
More like a cave.
Yeah.
D&D cave.
A dungeon.
Yeah.
We do have a guest coming on, somebody that I know who's
not John.
He's been DMing for a lot longer than we. Yeah, it'll be one of our first times not having John as a guest. He's been DMing for a lot longer than I have.
Way longer than I have.
So we're going to be looking at D&D from a DM's perspective, from an advanced, intermediate, and novice DM. I think it's going to be a heck of a good time. Hopefully it works out. If not, we're going to have to re-record this ending. So
no, it's going to be fine.
All right. Well, from the Tree of Geek, this is Josh. I am getting out of here. Go be a barbarian. I got nothing.
And remember to crush your enemies, save them before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. So whenever your boss is complaining about you, just get that Arnold in your voice, and you just rock on. So this is Michael, the H train, saying, a chug, just cut it out. Go, now.
Do the chuggas as Arnold.
A chugga, choo, the choo-choo trains. They got the rails, and they go this way, and they go that way. When I was born, I thought they said, how many brains do you want? But I thought they said trains. And they said, I'm all out of trains, so they got no trains, I no brains, there's nothing's there. It's all gone.
Are you done?
You just tell me what to say or what to talk about and then just continue. Why are you still listening? Turn it off. Go. Get to the chopper.